That's another great question.
Gettysburg Museum of History Studios, high atop Baltimore Street, in a maximum security facility complete with central air. It's AG Today.
Hi, this is Matthew Leach. I played First Sergeant Talbot in Band of Brothers.
Hi, this is licensed battlefield guide Paul Bailey.
Hi, I'm Dale Fetzer. Hi, I'm John Rothman.
Hi, this is
Bo Brinkman.
Hi, this is Anthony Bordner. I'm a huge fan of Addressing Gettysburg. It is the greatest and most quality podcast ever. And you're listening to it right now. God, you're so lucky.
Don't ever go on America Got Talent. You won't make it.
Did you say
Why?
Never fight a
Whatever
pill.
do you mean?
Never fight a pill.
Don't give him fuel. Oh, there's a swamp dragon.
I could house that load.
You're listening to
Gettysburg today.
Where do you come from?
What is that? Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Oh, for you.
Say my name.
Look it up.
Oh, hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to AG Today. I'm Matt, here with my bouffanted... Is that a bouffant? No, beehive, right? Yeah, beehive. My beehive. What?
Could you imagine?
I wish you would. I wish you would do that.
I don't know if my hair would actually do it because it's so, fine. I don't know if I could get it to stay in something like that. But this
I don't
thing
understand
has,
how it all works anyway, so who knows?
This thing
Yes.
has been sitting here
Yeah.
for several weeks now.
Right.
Just sitting here like a dead carcass of an animal.
Yes, that was. I had gotten that. I plan to someday, with all the other things I plan to do, is shoot a actual commercial for a little ground top and to go along with the song.
Is this Wendall Clarkson's hair?
No. It's too cool for Wendall Clarkson. But there's a line in the song. When you drag an ass out of bed, the hair's mussed up on your head. Well, I can't do it with no hair because I'm bald. So I had to get a wig, and I'm like, messy wig, and so that's why there's two wigs, because I got that one first. I'm like, nah, it doesn't really work.
No.
I got this one. It also doesn't really work, but it works better than that one does. So there you go.
This thing, it freaks me out. Like the first
But you think
time,
it's like a dead animal?
Well, the first time, out of the corner of my eye, because I have this new cat, and so I'm in cat.
Oh,
mode.
you think it's your dead cat?
No, not dead cat.
Oh.
My cat's not dead.
Well, you think your cat is dead when you see that. And
Well, no, I'm just like,
you.
and then I'm like, oh. So I'm just gonna wear it like this.
Good. I'm glad.
Thanks.
I'm glad you do that.
She looks like she should be drinking a very old cup of coffee and smoking a Marlboro Red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Maybe wearing a tank top.
Like one of the wives in Goodfellas or something.
Oh, I was thinking more truck stop.
Oh, a truck stop wife.
Like truck stop diner kind of thing.
Yeah. How you doing, hon? What can I get you?
What do you guys want?
Chewing on the gum.
Exactly.
Yeah. What can I get you? Do yins want some rolls?
The yins. The yins want some rolls with that. You want a potato roll?
Yeah.
Ugh. Potato rolls. I hate
love potato
Do you?
rolls.
Ugh. Don't like potato rolls.
Wait, what is a potato roll?
It's a roll made out of potatoes.
Like Martin's
Oh,
potato rolls?
But yeah, I love the potato bread roll.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I've been spoiled going to Gettysburg Baking Company for so long.
I know, right?
That bread is so good there, and also been spoiled coming
taking
from.
this off
Go ahead,
the
it's hot, yeah. But before that, I was spoiled by New Jersey with all the
I wish
Italians
you could
we
see
have there.
this
Hold on.
Dead thing.
Yeah, there you
laying
go.
here.
Move your mic out of the way. Move the
Other way.
okay, that's fine.
You're on the left.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. So there it is.
Laying
It looks like you cut off the top of somebody's head,
Yeah.
and it's some kind of sick war trophy.
Maybe call it a scalp. I don't know.
I
You
scalped some people.
somebody. It was a really good scalping, by the way.
Dude, I mean, you got the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? I don't mess around.
You really carved that person's scalp up.
I don't mess around.
God, can you imagine? That is such a pain. Like, I've cut my scalp shaving, and it is a pain, and it bleeds. Can you imagine
head
being
wounds are horrible.
scalped?
Now,
Welcome,
here's
by the
something-
way, to all the kids watching.
I know, right? But did you know that you could live through that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
All the
just
time.
assumed that people died.
No. You've never seen a Western where you got a guy who's missing, like...
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, but that is painful.
The one that does it best is
1883.
no. What's the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh, The Revenant, yeah.
That they did a good job. That was a believable looking like scalp scar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nasty business, the scalping. You don't want to get scalped.
I would imagine not.
No, I wouldn't. What got your attention there? You seem to be
Jean was saying something. and
about
I
to
was-
being scalped.
No.
It's too.
Oh, what can I get you? You single. This. We're back to this.
What can I get you? You
yeah.
single, hun?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like the character off of Monsters Inc.
Yeah, or Flo. It reminds me of Flo. Remember Flo from Alice? Oh, that's too old for you. You don't remember Alice? The sitcom Alice?
No.
Really?
No.
Oh, well, it was one of those 70s sitcoms.
Mm-hmm.
Early to bed, early to rise. Something to something, and then I poke out your eyes. I don't remember the words. There's a new girl in town, and she's looking good. You don't remember that?
No.
Oh, it was
is this like
awful.
the same time as Mary Tyler Moore show, or?
Yeah, probably. I don't know exactly the years they ran.
If it didn't run on Nick at Night, I don't know it.
It did.
No, it did not.
Not in your day, but in my day. Well, no, it might have been on the networks.
Yeah, because Nick at Night, I feel like that started. I feel like I remember when that started. And it
we
had like taxi. Taxi cab on.
Yeah, we would have been
Taxi, not taxi cab.
Taxi. It had with Doc Brown.
Yeah, we would have been.
And it had
the same age. Yeah.
It also had. I'm trying to think of the other ones, man. It had like. What was the other big like? I think it had I Love Lucy on it.
Yep. And Green Acres.
Yeah, Green Acres. The Monkees.
No,
See,
it did for a little bit.
Yeah,
but it was that was never like a mainstay of Nick at Night.
No. The Dick
It
Van
was.
Dyke
No,
Show.
it was. See, when I was a little kid, it was a mainstay of Nick at Night. That's how I learned about the Monkees.
Yeah,
was
it
Nickelodeon.
was at one point in time. But
And I don't even
the
know
Dick
if they
Van
called it
Dyke
Nick
Show.
at Night at that point. I think it was just Nickelodeon still. I don't remember. You Can't Do That on Television a show when you were little?
Dun 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 dun.
What?
Nick is kids.
Wait, what about a What did you ask me?
Did you ever see the show You Can't Do That on Television?
Oh yeah.
Explain the premise. I don't really remember it.
It was like a variety show, like a kids variety show, but it was very like irreverent and scatological. There was a lot of barfing, not
gaff.
actual bar, but like if you said water, a bucket of water would be dumped on your head, or if you said I don't know, you would get a bucket of slime on your head. That's where the whole slime and Nickelodeon association comes from.
You know, I went to their studio one time in Florida.
Right.
And how they make that, it was with applesauce.
The slime?
Yeah,
Blah.
it's applesauce, so it doesn't taste gross to the kids when they're getting like slimed.
Ugh,
It
that's
doesn't even
disgusting.
have that consistency.
No, it doesn't.
No, I don't know how they got it, but they let us taste it.
Sounds like such a waste of food.
Also sticky, bro.
Sticky? Oh, yeah. It'd have to be showered off after every time they did a slime. Yeah, that was what we watched. You can't do it on television. And you had barf burgers. And there was always like this segment where it was weird. It was Canadian, so it's not real television, you know? And so like there would be these scenes where they'd go into like their burger joint, you know, because they're like teenagers or like whatever they were.
I remember this show, and I don't remember that at all.
What was the show? What was the show where they had to like? They won some kind of like bronzed monkey prize, but they had to like.
Oh, the temple one.
Yes, there's like a temple run game. You remember what I'm talking about?
I do.
No.
That was one of my
their theme
faves.
song had something to do with Carmen Sandiego, didn't it?
No.
I know it
There was a Carmen Sandiego show.
I know, but I could have sworn that theme song also had something to do with Carmen. Like the premise of that show.
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
That was an interesting one too with Rockapella, the group that sang that song. That was like their big gig.
What was that noise? That sounded like somebody just threw up.
Me drinking through a straw.
Oh, okay. Things that don't translate on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there was some good, pretty classic television, and that's of course I grew up. I was little watching television in the '80s, but a lot of the shows that I watched were reruns from the late '70s, mid to late '70s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why like your sitcom theme song sounds
Bewitched.
very '70s. That's '60s.
No, but that was on. Nick
Oh
at Night.
yeah, that was a
Bewitched
classic.
one. That was a good one, dude. I
Mhm.
had a crush on that.
And I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie, yeah. Right. So that's the thing is, so I was very confused because a lot of these people, I didn't understand that when I was watching it, a lot of these shows were 15 to 20 years old already. So I'm thinking these people are, and then I'd see them on like some, daytime talk show while my mom's ironing and she's watching,
This explains that outfit you had in that one picture.
Which one? The genie outfit?
No, no, the one with the long hair where you have like the plaid bell-bottom outfit on.
Well, yeah, because when we were in high school, the retro movement
blame that.
of the day was 30 years before, 20 to 30 years before, which would be the 60s and 70s at that time. And so, yeah, we were into that. So we went and found old, but we knew that like, what people wore back then was just like, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, it's pretty
Like,
bad.
can you believe that those pants that I had, those plaid pants, were something that somebody bought in all seriousness and wore? Probably to a wedding or a St. Patrick's Day party because it was green.
You know what? I don't know about that. I do love how much the '90s are coming back now, though. Have you guys noticed that? Like, it's talking like going like
Mom jeans
retro.
are back, really hardcore.
Dude, my jeans I'm wearing right now are like whitewashed
Mom
90
jeans,
dude.
So the 90s are coming back, and it's funny because I hated the 90s growing up in them because those were my years as a teenager. So that's really where you develop, right? It's so funny because I've always been an old fart. Like, I didn't like the music in the 90s as it was coming out, but now I listen to it and I'm like, man, that was great music. Like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, and I always liked Stone Temple Pilots, but they were a little different. They were
Stone
actually
Temple Pilots is good.
really good. And but I remember I was listening to like the Doors and the Beatles and the Eagles and Billy Joel and like and there were a bunch of us that listened to that stuff. But they also listened to modern stuff, and I was like, no, man, I don't have any room for that crap. It's all noise. I was like an old man. Turn that noise down. But now I'm like, man, that was some pretty good stuff. I'm always often a decade or two or maybe three behind everybody else with certain things.
But now you go into like, isn't it the Gary Owen that has the sign up that says, no, you cannot play Creed?
Well, that's
Isn't that Gary?
Creed's making a comeback though, dude.
Which is really the biggest sin of them all.
Listen,
Creed is awful.
They're not great, but I will say they were huge. When
They were huge.
And I'd never understood it. At least when like
I can't even remember.
everything else was huge, I could understand why.
Hootie and the Blowfish. I could understand that one. I love them.
Well, they were very poppy.
Yeah.
They were good. Darius Rucker's got a great voice.
Yes.
Sounds like he smoked a carton of cigarettes every day for his entire
Oh
life.
no, he does not.
I love
He's
it.
got
I'm
that
not-
big ballsy voice.
It's raspy though, it's very like there's like a growl, constant growl to his voice. Not a menacing growl, but
I think it's just deep.
I think go back and listen, see what you think. Now that I've pointed it out.
Well, like at the end of I Only Want to Be With You, it's like when he gets really worked up, he's like, I don't want to be with you. There's a lot of growl in that, but otherwise, I think he's just got a solid, deep voice.
Guy can't sing. He can definitely sing.
Yeah, he can. And he's gone on and made a good career for himself as a country artist.
What?
Yes. You didn't know that?
You didn't know this?
He's like all the rage.
Dude, that is what he does now.
Yeah.
I think most of his
What?
fans now don't even know he was Hootie.
No.
Does he sound the same?
Yeah, except he's got a little bit of a twang. I remember actually I watched a video of him at a concert, and he did a cover of Stone Temple Pilots' Interstate Love Song, and it was really good. Yeah, no, he's good.
Speaking of people redoing songs into country, have you heard the Billy Ray Cyrus did Mama's Gonna Knock You Out?
No. Did
It's
it really?
actually okay.
Billy Ray.
No, it's I'm gonna knock you out because Mama said knock you out. I can't picture him singing that.
Yeah, I can't either.
No, you have to. Yeah.
Is that his
It's
like
a-
apology for giving us Miley Cyrus? Like he's gonna make a fool out of himself doing a rap song?
I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's actually not bad.
Can you imagine? Billy Ray Cyrus had this one stupid, annoying, catchy hit. Nothing else that I can recall came out of that man except
He had a
for,
mullet,
and he had a
people loved
mullet,
the
except
mullet.
for Miley Cyrus, and she's disgusting.
But she's been famous her entire life.
I know.
Man.
It's amazing. Like,
Wait,
you know.
What is the song he did?
Don't tell my heart.
Oh,
my
right,
ache
right.
break her.
Okay.
Just don't think you understand.
Let's be honest. That song is a banger, though. You know, he did good on that one. If you're drinking Coronas in the garage, that's a banger.
But only Coronas.
Well, Bud Light, Busch Light, you know, you can sub out the beer, but
some Natty.
I you know, now that weather's getting colder, I tried to throw Corona out so we can get a little bit more of a summertime vibe with that song, because that song is a summertime song.
I feel like it's in a lot of movies.
Interesting. Well, I think the one thing that I think we're all missing is probably, and again, this is in retrospect of the last 20 to 30 years, the one act that was just the best, not the best, but really fantastic was NSYNC.
Dude, you want to know something crazy? That's the
Bye.
That's the first concert I ever went to was an NSYNC.
Do you want to hear something really
man.
crazy?
I wish I could say what I wanted to just blurt out.
So one of the NSYNC guys, Chris Kirkpatrick, he's from Clarion.
No.
And his dad dated my mom in high school.
No, you could have been related to an NSYNcer.
I could have been his sister.
You could have been his sister.
He would not have been born with any musical talent.
Oh, shit.
I have pictures of them. They're kissing in a photograph.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Amazing. And that doesn't get you anything.
Any of his money? Nope.
No, not any of his money, but like you can't even meet him.
He did come back and he was the Grand Marshal. He did come back and was the Grand Marshal in the Clarion ALF parade.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Justin
far the mighty have
Timberlake
fallen.
came at the same time, and there were buses of girls coming in from like Maine.
Let me tell you, dude.
Buses.
We left. I was little. My mom took me to this concert, and I was little. I mean, I might have been like 8 or 9. We left 2 songs in to NSYNC's concert because the screaming.
Yeah, you can't.
Dude,
couldn't hear
it
anything.
reached a decibel that I've never heard in my life since.
Really?
Before, and it just stayed. It just stayed. It did not change. It was this ear-piercing, teen little girl scream nonstop.
Ugh.
It was insanity. They're mentioning Hanson in the comments, and I think we should talk about that.
Now, okay, I'll admit this. When Bop came out, that was my guilty pleasure song of that year.
Really?
It was.
What's he even saying? Nobody knows.
He says-
Bop.
He's just making noises.
Dip, dop, bop, doo, wop. In an bop, they're gone. In an bop, they're not there. That's 13-year-olds trying to be profound. In an bop, it's like Don Henley had in a New York Minute. They have bop. In an bop, they're gone. In an let's see, what are the lyrics to bop? Because I don't know, because you can't really understand them. Lyrics here. Let's see.
But no. That's all I know.
All right, so let's see. Bop lyrics by Henson. You've got oh, yeah. Followed by, you have so many relationships in this life, only 1 or 2 will last. They didn't write this.
No.
That's too. You. How could you know that at 13? You go through all the pain and strife, then you turn your back and they're gone so fast. Oh yeah, and they're gone so fast. Yeah. Oh. So hold on to the ones who really care. In the end, they'll be the only ones there. And when you get old and start losing your hair,
No, it does not say that.
tell me.
No, it does not say that.
Tell me who will still care. So that's a 1 1 1 1. Oh wait, can you tell me who will still care? 1 care 1 rhyme scheme. Bop ba do ba dop ba do bop ba do ba.
I hope somebody just came online right now.
And they're like, "What is he having a stroke?" Ba do bop the ba do. Yeah.
Badoo.
Don't forget the
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, bop, badoo ba bop dop. Oh, I'm sorry, badoo da dop, badoo bop badoo dop, Ba-do bop, ba-do dop, ba-do yeah. Oh yeah, in an bop they're gone. That's the only line I ever could make out. Yeah, yeah. The next one, plant a seed, plant a flower, plant a rose. You can plant any one of those. Keep planting to find out which one grows. It's a secret no one knows. It's a secret no one knows. Oh, no one knows. Bop, etc. It's horrible. But the reason I liked it is because when that came out, that was like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and it was all garbage. And this was people who could play their own instrument. It had I'll tell you another guilty pleasure song I had.
Blue Monday by Orgy.
Never heard it.
Oh.
I'm going to tell it to you.
How have you heard that song?
It's my sister's favorite band.
Sickos out in Clarion.
Orgy.
I'm going to whisper to you so the audience and Colby and nobody else knows. Rock Your Body by Justin Timberlake.
I'm going to rock your body.
Boom, 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 boom.
I don't even know any of the words.
Boom, boom. Come on, Colby. Boom, boom.
I think the other guilty pleasure everybody had was, I'm bringing sexy back.
Nope. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. Don't be so quick to. Come on, Cole.
Walk away.
No, that's all the drums.
Dance with me.
Start paying me now.
Yeah, that one was a guilty. Why? Because it reminded me of 70s Michael Jackson.
It's
always
does.
stuff that brings me back to a better time, even a time I didn't live through.
Like Bruno Mars reminds me.
Bruno
of
Mars is great.
Bruno Mars is Michael Jackson reincarnated, dude.
Yeah, 100.
He's fantastic. Very talented young man.
Yes, he is.
And that boy can sing.
And so's that John Mayer kid. Once he stopped with the bubblegum crap and he went to playing blues, which he really liked,
I think he's the best guitarist, like in that is in, I guess, the limelight music career, like upper echelons. I think he's the best guitarist.
It's very Claptonian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
very
he's
Claptonian.
He's a lot of those guys. He can play Stevie Ray Vaughan. He
Let's
can play
listen to
them all.
Eric Clapton.
We can't because we'll get copyright
Little
strikes.
slow hand.
Yeah. I wish I could. It would be great to be able
We'll
to
do
play
that
these
later.
songs as we talk about them, But, stupid.
What a great show that would be if you could just review music but not get hit for copyright.
Well, you can if
How
you
do those
you can.
people do it that do like reaction videos?
Because that's a different thing that's allowed. There's a way that because you share the revenue, I think.
And you also give credit.
Yeah. Well, giving credit, that's not a real thing. Everybody's like, when they put these disclaimers in their YouTube things, it's like, copyright disclaimer. I do not own the copyright. Yeah, no shit, you don't own the copyright. That doesn't absolve you of anything.
You're not Eric Clapton.
Wait. That's as close as we can get.
What the hell you talking about? It's got
The guitar.
No.
That's BB King style. Chicago
Yeah.
style.
No.
Yes.
Trust me, that's something I know there.
Call me, baby.
Aw.
Were you ever in the Marine?
Dude, that piano is ripping.
Yeah, it is piano. I don't think it's. I don't think this has guitar. Anyway.
That's the Texas Shuffle, in case you were wondering there, Bethany.
Yeah, good old.
You
Good old
mean
Texas blues.
The
I
stuff
like
that
Texas
Walk
blues.
Tallers plays.
Yes.
Yeah.
They know all the styles.
All
Dude,
the
they
genres.
can play Delta all the way up to Chicago.
Listen, I want to tell you about something that's coming up on October 19th. It's the Get Out of the Car. It's the final one of 2024. Do you see those colors? Take them. Perhaps no other Corps commander in the Army of the Potomac was as active and responsible for the successful defense of Cemetery Ridge during. I don't know why I try to read it fast and I always stumble over my words because I don't want to bore the audience any more than they're already bored. Defense of Cemetery Ridge during the July 2nd and 3rd, 1863. Then Major General Winfield Scott Hancock. Join us as we examine the leadership and actions of Major General Hancock during the fighting of July 2nd of 1863. Now, here's what I have to tell you. I am legally bound by law under penalty of death if I don't tell you this mitigation from the Park Service. Participants are required to park in the Hunt Avenue parking lot or National Cemetery overflow lot. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, overflow lot.
Mm-hmm.
So not the actual cemetery lot.
The overflow lot is the one next to law enforcement.
Got it.
If you're coming out of town on the left-hand side.
Got
of
it.
Graff.
So the lot across from Meade's headquarters or on the north of the law enforcement building. Got it. Okay. and use the paved pedestrian trails to Ziegler's Grove to begin the program. So we're meeting at Ziegler's Grove. Those are the places you have to park. Those with accessibility needs should park on the right-hand side of Hancock Avenue with all four wheels on the pavement. Shuttle vehicles, if necessary, should be parked on the right. Okay, we're not going to do shuttles. So that's it. If you have mobility issues, then park on Hancock Avenue. Make sure all of your wheels are on the pavement, though. And if you don't have mobility issues, then you can park in those grass lots there on the, would that be, east side of Town Road. And that's okay to do that. And then just walk up to Ziegler's Grove. We hope to see all of you out there. We are going to vote. Do you want me to go through all the trouble of making Get Out of the Park tours for next year? Or do you want to keep them in Gettysburg and continue with the Get Out of the Car tours? I've heard both. I've heard people say, I would like to stay in Gettysburg. And I've heard others say, as much as I love Gettysburg, it would be nice to go and see and do something else with everybody. And I kind of am on both sides of that one, too. It's hard for me, and that's why I'm putting it to a vote. So we're going to do what the people vote for.
How many people were at the last one?
So we had 56 at the last one. And Cindy and I on the way over had a little bet going. I said, how many think you're going to come? And she goes, I think you're going to have 80. I said, no, we're not going to have 80. I said, I think we're going to have 20, 22 if we're lucky.
That's
and
more
that's
than
including
you thought. You
major.
Said 6 last time.
Well, I adjusted for inflation. And so then we get there, and much to my surprise, we had 56. So I count that as a win because I was expecting it to be very low. Then I heard that our buddy Matt Atkinson was doing a walk at the same time. And so I assumed then that we probably lost a good bunch of people to him, but he only had 70. So he only had 14 more than I did. Plus, there was the World War II weekend.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot going on that weekend.
Oh, speaking of which, you got recognized at World War II weekend many, many times, you said.
At least 20.
So tell me about that, and then we'll go to break.
There was one guy who came up and he goes, I'm sorry, but are you Bethany Yingling? And I'm like, yes.
Do people usually apologize to you for being Bethany Yingling?
Well, he was interrupting my flow.
Gotcha.
And because I have flow. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I recognized your voice.
Oh.
I guess he listens to the audio.
Right.
Version. And then I had a couple people, like, all of a sudden I'd be walking somewhere and they'd go, Bethany Yingling. And
really?
Yeah, hi.
Now, did you meet these people and get their names?
Not all of them. No. Not all of them.
You did meet Marie, though. Marie and Chad, didn't you?
Well, yeah, but I know.
Oh, you already know them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not as exciting. I'm just saying, it's
said.
more exciting when a total stranger.
That's not what I said.
I'm just saying it's more exciting when
Marie,
a total stranger. I'm just saying it's more exciting when a total stranger comes up to you that you've never met.
It was very odd because, I've worked for the foundation for almost 10 years and I'm used to having a certain group of people and them knowing me from just being at events and stuff like that. This, because it was World War II weekend, was a completely different set of people. So I was like, oh, no one's going to know me. And then all of a sudden people were saying my name and I'm like, ooh, that's weird. And then I called you and said, you should come here because there's podcast people here. And you're like, yeah, World War II podcast. And I said, no, our podcast people. And he's like, oh. So.
Yeah. And then so I said, well, I'll go tomorrow, but no one will be there because it's Sunday. And sure enough, no one was there. No one was there on Sunday. Oh, 5 or 10 people were there, but it was pretty sparse. But it was also raining. Was it raining Saturday?
No, it rained Saturday.
No,
it didn't rain
there was a
Sunday.
mist on Sunday.
It was like walking into those misters at a theme park.
Yeah,
just
really
constantly being spit on.
Right. But it looked cool. Next year I want to go on Saturday when everything
really
is going
cool.
on.
They did a fantastic job.
Yeah. I don't know why a lot of these events go to a Sunday because most people leave Sunday. They have to work on Monday. They've got a 2 to 4 hour drive to get home.
They had I think they said it was about 800 people on Sunday.
And 1,000 on.
They had, I think 1,200. Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
But over 1,000 on.
Yeah,
Saturday.
over 1,000 on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's not a huge drop.
No,
then.
and there was a lot of like the weather wasn't as nice on. Well, it wasn't as sunny.
Right.
But then it got hot, and then people really did peter out.
Yeah.
Later in the day on Saturday.
I thought it was
a nice
really,
day.
really cool though. Like it looked really neat, and a lot of cool stuff that I had really no idea what I was looking at because I've never spent a lot of time.
It's so crazy how different of an audience it is, and
It's
about
younger.
Oh, I was just gonna say about 30 years younger than our.
Well,
Civil
that's
War
what
crowd.
was so cool about it was that when I was leaving, guys were getting out on the field to play baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And, they looked like guys who would be in the Army playing baseball.
Mhm.
Maybe they're 10 years older than the guys who were in the actual service at the time.
I wouldn't even say that.
Some of them were in their
Yeah.
20s for sure, but like there were some who were obviously in their
Yeah.
30s and everything. And it was different. It was almost refreshing
Mhm.
to see something that was a more accurate depiction of what you would have seen in the war.
Yeah. Now next year, see, I as the weekend wore on, I was like, man, I wish I had an outfit to wear.
Right. Man, you're going to have to get something.
But I don't, hoop skirts work so much better with these hips I've got.
Why do you need an outfit?
Because it felt like you should be dressed up. You felt like you should be in period clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
You ever get that vibe, Matt, when you show up to places?
No.
I was gonna say
At most, I'll wear a hat.
it's different for girls because our clothes were so much cooler.
I don't know, dude.
In both periods, so much cooler.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about
110% cooler.
No.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't think so.
Oh, 110%.
No, I
yes.
would say they weren't. I would say they were.
You're wrong.
It's nothing cooler than combat gear and clothing.
I would have to agree.
No.
Yeah.
With Matthew.
Listen, your opinion in this matter does not count, Colby.
Covered in blood and mud.
Play the song because he's in Marines. He was in the Marines, so his opinion in this matter does not.
Well, let's just be
that's
honest.
not- what do you
Marines
mean?
have
No,
the best
no,
outfits
I
out of
don't-
all people.
No, done. You're done.
If you're going to argue, I mean, at least Marines, I can say this with confidence. We have the best outfits out of anybody because people join the Marines just for the outfits.
No, wait.
Hey, did you know Colby was in the Marines? 3rd Battalion and 3rd Regiment, it seems.
2-9, actually.
An only child,
What?
but his twin is sometimes here.
I saw him.
Oh, yeah?
Say
Yeah.
hello to Jeremy McNair.
Yeah, I saw
Where's
Jeremy.
he been?
How's
Family.
that
Third
Dealing with
Battalion,
family.
3rd Marine Infantry Regiment, 3-3. I bet they're all Marines though. He was a Mordor man.
All right. Well, listen. We're going to take a break. You know why we're going to take a break? Because we have
I'm
a guest.
hungry.
And we have a wonderful guest today who's become a friend. He was a patron, and he said, hey, I'd like to be a sponsor. I wrote this book. This book right here, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard the commercials. A lot of you have bought the book. And it is called The Heavens Falling, and he has part 2 of this trilogy that he is writing coming out on November 1st. It is called
Part 2.
Part 2. I don't have my notes because my printer, I have to look at but it's got a name, and we're going to talk about it when it's something like terrible. No, what is the name? What's the name of it?
The Beauty of the Lilies.
The Beauty of the, I knew it was from a song. The Beauty of the Lilies. And, but he gets into some pretty nasty battles in this one. And I read a few segments of the Gettysburg chapter. Well, I don't know. We'll find out. And, there was no beauty in that except for the beauty with which he describes the horror.
The horror. The horror.
Oh, the humanity.
Yeah. So you know what we're going to do?
We're going to take a break.
We're going to take a break. Jonathan Lucci is coming up, ladies and gentlemen, as I just said, and you are going to love it. So just stick around. and meet the man, the genius behind these wonderful novels right after these words.
Aren't you glad you used Dial? We are too. We'll be right back.
It sounds like you have an excuse shuffler that just comes up with this magic card as soon as you need it. Every time you lose one, you get a new one.
The Gettysburg Museum of History, located right here in the center of Gettysburg, PA. Owner and curator Eric Dorr grew up here and has spent his life collecting and preserving history through artifacts ranging from the Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg, World War II, presidential items, pop culture, and more. His museum is free and open to visitors Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 5 p.m., where you can stop by and immerse yourself in some of the most amazing artifacts that you would never believe exist in the middle of Gettysburg. If you're a fan of Band of Brothers and Everything Easy Company, you'll love his exhibit featuring the Dick Winters collection and artifacts from D-Day. You can even own your own piece of history by buying one of the many relics they have for sale in the museum and on the website GettysburgMuseumofHistory.com. The Gettysburg Museum of History is a non-profit 501c3 organization with a foundation that allows all purchases and donations to keep the museum operating and open free of charge. They have been featured on the History Channel, the Travel Channel, the Smithsonian Channel, and the Science Channel. Now you can check them out on American Artifact, the series on the YouTube channel, The History Underground. So that's the Gettysburg Museum of History at 219 Baltimore Street or the GettysburgMuseumofHistory.com.
Gettysburg's first and premier podcast about living in and visiting Gettysburg has returned from that long commercial break. Thanks for sticking around. Here's Matt.
I want to first say, ladies and gentlemen, that the book The Heavens Falling has been out now for a year, and it's a number one bestseller on the New York Times, right? Historical fiction list?
Not quite.
It is a bestseller on the Addressing Gettysburg historical fiction list.
True.
And it is written by Jonathan Lucci, and he is here right now. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thank you. It's great to be here again.
Do you mind if I just call you John?
Please.
Okay, because I bit my tongue, and the more syllables I have to say, it hurts. So.
Only my mother ever called me Jonathan.
Okay, good. I want to say, first of all, thank you, because I'll just read you a line here. Matthew found himself nodding along, thinking, first the carrot, now the stick. Thank you for naming a character after me.
You're very welcome.
I appreciate that. You are a true fan of Addressing Gettysburg. Okay.
So in the next book, there'll be a Bethany?
Actually, that
volume 3.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, now listen, let's go through this here.
Mm-hmm.
So you... how'd you get the idea to, like, what made you say, I'm going to write a trilogy of the Civil War? Because that's, not an easy task.
So I've always loved history. History was what I studied in college. So my undergraduate education's in history and philosophy.
Okay.
And, I work in the business world now, but I have always loved history, and particularly I've always loved the Civil War, and even particularly within that, I've always loved the Battle of Gettysburg. Coming here is like my favorite thing in the world. I've always wanted to be a battlefield guide, etc. So,
are you taking the exam?
I am. Yes. There's a test for that.
Yes,
yeah.
I hear. Yeah, I see it as a, see how good I do this time. Maybe someday I can pass it.
I have a listener email for later, and she says the same thing. It's I don't expect to pass, but I want to see how I can do. So
yeah,
I think that's a great boon for the federal government, because the only way you can find out if you're good or not is to pay $250 to take the test.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that, but I paid my $250. So.
It could have been higher. So
that's true.
They kept it at that, which is good. Yeah. All right, so you're into this stuff, and you decide, let's do a novel.
Yeah, so I've always been a bit of a writer, I guess. This was my first published book, but in college, I was a speechwriter for congressional campaigns and 2 national political lobbying organizations while I was in college.
My goodness.
Weren't you a speechwriter for Barack Obama?
While I was a county coordinator for Barack Obama. I wish I was a speechwriter.
Oh,
I was
okay.
only 19, 20 years old, a little young to be that high up there. But no, I was a speechwriter for a couple congressmen on their campaigns to become congressmen, and then a speechwriter for a lobbying group in Washington, D.C. while I was in college. So I've always loved writing, and I always kind of did it for fun a little bit. When COVID first happened and, we all had to work from home, I decided, I've always had this general idea of wanting to write a Civil War epic, of as big a proportion as I could to try to show the scale and immensity of the war and not just have it be pigeonholed about one part of it.
Right.
And I thought, I can't remember exactly where I came up with the idea, but I thought it'd be great to tell the story through 5 brothers who go off to war. And so the premise I guess, for those of you who have bought The Heavens Falling and read it, thank you very much. I certainly hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, thank you for buying it anyway. But
my only criticism is there's no pictures.
There are no pictures now.
So I have to actually read it.
And I've been told, it's a little long. Well, volume 2 is longer, actually.
Wow, look at
Yeah.
you.
It's interesting. It's a little long. Just enjoy the work. Let the author take you on the journey.
Why
Just
does
sit
it-
back.
yeah.
Everybody with the ADD, it's getting old.
There
Go
is a
get
lot
some
of that,
Ritalin or whatever you got to take for ADD and stop telling people it's too long.
Right.
Go ahead.
So, for those of you who have not read The Heavens Falling, if you're excited about what you hear about Volume 2, please buy Volume 1 because you really won't know what's going on. It is one of those trilogies that
Because you have a lot of characters here.
Yes.
Matthew.
So there's 5 brothers: Matthew, Luke, Peter, Charles, and Robert.
And they have some of them, all of them have love interests.
Yeah, so basically the premise is in the very beginning of Volume 1, the first scene actually takes place in the 1960s. A little girl and her mother are walking through a cemetery in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is where I was born and raised, and they see a family plot of gravestones, and they see that there are these 5 brothers who went off and fought in the Civil War, and you find out as the reader there in the very first pages that 4 of the 5 brothers do not make it through the war, that they die in the course of the war, and that only one of them survives. But it is not made at all clear to the reader which one that is,
right?
Who's going to survive. And the entire trilogy is the story of those 5 brothers, and then my hope was to very similar to, it sounds strange, but very similar to a Game of Thrones type world where you start focused on this family and then the story builds out from there. So by the time you get to Volume 2, not only are the brothers the characters and their father and their love interest, but everyone that they've met, a lot of them become characters themselves.
That is pretty epic. That's
so the idea,
but that's life.
Yeah. So the idea in my mind was to try to show as much of the war and the experience of living in the 1860s as possible. So, the brothers, all in their own way, take part in the Civil War. I place them in real units. The one who's in the Navy is on a real ship, and I really try to be as historically accurate as possible when it comes to those units fighting where they fought, the ship going where it went. But through their father, who is a congressman, through other people that they meet, I try to show the political dimensions of the war, the economic dimensions, foreign policy and diplomacy. But really, I hope coursing through the whole thing from the very beginning is the idea that the American Civil War has immense meaning to this little girl in the beginning who's African American and is going to grow up in the course of this book as you kind of have snippets of her life intermixed with it, taking part in the civil rights movement. And my hope is to show that the American Civil War is this great struggle over what it means to be a free country, what it means to be America, And it's a battle that is still going on. And so there's this straight line that runs from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement to today. And that's what I think gives the American Civil War such meaning.
Now, I can guarantee you that somebody just heard that and said, "Oh God, another woke masterpiece that's going to browbeat me over the head with this nonsense." But I can tell you, as someone who can't stand that stuff, that's not in this.
No,
it's really not. No. Cindy, Cindy, move over to the mic there, because Cindy loves this book. Now she'll admit it's taken her a while to finish it because it's so long, and we don't always have the time to sit and read. But she's gotten a lot further in this huge book than I've gotten in a 150-page book in years. So, but Cindy, you love it. What do you love about it so much?
It's the writing, honestly.
Yeah, he really is a good writer.
Yeah, he's a great writer. He develops the characters so well. So when he says that you need to start with the first volume, you definitely do.
Right.
I can't imagine understanding a thing starting at the second book because there's just so much detail into it. But I'm also learning a lot, I'll say. So, and I think I've mentioned this before on a show, if anybody out there is like me that doesn't necessarily know anything about the war or any specifics, this is a super great way to learn about it because he's extremely detailed. And from what, and I've like checked a couple of things with you. You've read some parts of it too, as far as the historical accuracy, and it's there. Like he really has done a great job with that research. So I do feel like I'm learning a lot by reading it as well. So.
Yeah, that is something that, thank you, Cindy. That is something that we talked about before was that, because you're such a history nerd, you're aware of how people can be. And not that you can please everybody. No, none of us can do anything. Like there's, right, there's always somebody. But you do everything you possibly can without spending years studying one thing, one regiment, one battle, whatever, to make it believable. And it's basically like, it's fictionalized, obviously, but it's happening around real events with real people and everything like that. But how much time does that take you to do? Because that's a lot. Like if you were doing something about Gettysburg, that was fiction. Yeah. To me, that would be easier for me.
Yeah.
But you're doing the war.
So the first volume took 2 years, but it was very, I would go months without writing because there was a little bit of like, is this really going to be good? Is anyone going to like it? Yeah. Volume 2 I wrote in about 6 months. So
really?
So it was quicker.
Yeah, he's been sending me screenshots of his like computer screen with pages and stuff.
Yeah, I always try to get Matt's opinion.
Yeah. And you know what, it's like I feel bad because my opinion is like, this is so great, but I don't want to just say this is so great because then it sounds like I'm just being like, like I'm dismissing him.
I have a stressful job. I own multiple businesses in Virginia, Maryland, and Alabama, and it's a great job and I love it, and I get to develop business leaders, and I use what I've learned in history a lot to do that. But it's nice to come home and just do this. This is my stress relief. This and reading.
What is your business? Give it a little plug so people can.
Yeah, so I co-own Weedman Lawn Care franchises in.
Don't get excited, folks, by the name.
Oh, we get that all the time, I assure you. Yeah,
we're like, hey, man, I need to.
Well, do get excited by the name because we are the best lawn care company in the world. But if
it's not a marijuana,
I co-own locations in Winchester, Virginia, where I live, and the Maryland suburbs of Washington D.C., Richmond, Virginia, and Birmingham, Alabama. And my job really, like, I have a business partner who is much better at the financials, and he has a business education. And much of what I do is leadership development and leading managers and things like that. And
so you're the people person. He's the numbers guy.
To a degree. He's good with people too. And I'm not completely numerically illiterate.
Right.
But I've actually taken my managers to Civil War battlefields frequently to do leadership trainings. So at any rate, so I would go home from doing that and I would write every night. And it's, it's fun. I enjoy it. And one of the nice things about having a career aside from this is, like, I'm not doing this for money. right? There's not a lot of money in it. I'm not doing it for money. So I hope everyone loves it, but if you don't,
that's
the way it goes,
Yeah.
right? So like what I always say is I try to make it as historically accurate as I can about the stuff that I believe personally matters the most. So like I said, they're in real units. And so like the one character who in volume 2 is in the 2nd U.S. Sharpshooters. Well, I'm very careful to make sure that he's where those guys were in front of the Round Tops, around the Slider farm lane. Like I make sure to do that. But am I going to get something wrong about the buttons on his coat? Probably.
Yeah.
So like there's that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be precise about that, but that's not my area of specialty. So
right.
But
there's probably things people could pick out.
But truthfully, by this point in the war, if they still have all of their buttons.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like that's what one of the things that drives me nuts is like people get insane about the little details.
Yeah.
And it's like they've been fighting for a long time now.
And like
if they still have their original jacket, I would be surprised.
I can be like that as well. I will say I can be just as bad as anybody else about that flank marker shouldn't be there. It should be 20 yards over there, right? But at the end of the day, I like I said, it's got to have meaning that speaks to us today, and that's why I brought up the civil rights aspect at the very beginning of the book, because I just don't think the Civil War has, or it's sheared away from its meaning when we don't talk about that. And so while it's not, well, I certainly would not call it woke. If people read it and they say, oh, it's too much about slavery, it's too much about liberty and equality for people of different colors. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
But that's the way it was. I mean, that's what the whole thing was about.
Right.
And you're invading into a slave territory. You're going to encounter slaves.
I will say there is a Confederate character in this book because, again, the cast of characters grows. Right.
Now, do any of the brothers go and defect to the Confederacy? And
no, they do not. So it's not a John Jakes full north.
It's
and
not
south
north and
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Did you just break the binding on that book?
Oh,
Did that just happen?
You have to.
You can have another one.
Yeah, thank you. I think I already have two other copies.
Did you just purposely do it?
Well, I did because you don't break the binding on your book. How do you read the book without breaking the binding?
Carefully.
Very, very easily. But
It's
that
a
is
soft cover. I wouldn't do it on a hard
what
cover.
People do when
What? Jeez. Oh, I'm
it
sorry.
It literally hurts my soul.
Well, I'm sorry.
To hear that noise. Like you did that and my soul went. But
And
anyway,
it's my book. Imagine how I feel.
I mean, right? So,
Go
real
ahead,
quick
go ahead.
about
What's your
writing.
question?
So we had Jeff Shara on a while back,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about in his writing he writes linearly from front to back, chapter 1 through chapter the end.
Yeah.
Is that how you write, or are you kind of like here's an episode now I need to connect them?
Mostly I write linearly, right?
Linear.
Linear.
So
It's a hard word.
Yeah, mostly I write from beginning to end. The exception I would say is, and again, without, I don't think it gives too much away. There's a character in volume 2, who he's on the staff of Ulysses S. Grant. He's on the staff of Ulysses S. Grant in volume 1 too. And so in terms of telling the Vicksburg campaign, it's a very complicated, complex logistical campaign without a lot of incredibly dramatic battles, but very dramatic maneuvers and moments. And I was, lucky enough to take a trip out there to take a tour of the battlefield and the campaign. With that, I wrote all those scenes. I just wrote all the Vicksburg scenes, even though as you read them through the book, they are interspersed throughout. I wrote those all at the same time because it is a very complicated campaign. I just thought that would be easier for me to write it correctly.
I bet.
Can I try to do a reading of this? I just want people to hear what a good writer he is, if I may. I'm going to mess it up, I know, because I'm trying to get...
Are you going to do a sound effect?
No. Okay. Wait, okay, here we go. Looking up from the embers, Peter saw Foote standing by the pilot house while the man inside that small structure struggled to follow Foote's insistent commands. The captain of the vessel stood nearby, clearly now only a spectator, like Peter himself. The final cannonball came in slowly and arced from the fort, and Peter caught sight of it and watched it in mute terror for several seconds as it hurtled towards them. Slamming into the pilot house, it burst the small structure to pieces. The man inside was splattered all over the deck, and a spray of blood and brain tissue hit Peter in the face.
Ooh.
Revolting and grabbing at his face to wipe away the horrid mess, Peter heard a shouted curse above the din of battle. Foote was lying on the deck, blood streaming from... Oh, it's the end of the page. You're just going to have to buy the book to find out what the blood was streaming from.
A Matt Calorie cliffhanger.
And
it was streaming from his foot.
Yes.
Okay.
Foot's
but there you go.
Was streaming
but really,
from his foot?
Because he was injured in the foot. Yeah.
Listen, I have to say, I'm not a lot, not often, but once in a while, someone will send me something they wrote, whatever, and they're not bad, and I'm no judge. Right, I'm not the best writer ever. I can maybe put a sentence together and then stare at it for months and go, actually, it should be this way. Right? It takes me months, so I don't know. But this is something where I feel like it's humbling, believe it or not, when you are encountered by someone who is more talented than yourself, and you're like, wow, so this is what real
Writing
skill and talent does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I
and
do.
you realize, man, I am so phoning it in,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's not really there. This is so good, and when I read it, I picture it. I can see it playing out like a movie in my head, which is why I continue to play the lottery so that I can make it into a movie. I want to be the one to make it into a movie.
Well, so two things. One, and I mean this, all joking aside. I remember when I first messaged you, I said, when people write, I think it's Jen Murray wrote that great history of the Gettysburg National Military Park, and there's people who write histories about the battlefield and the memory, the historiography of the battle, and somebody who does that in 30 years will have a Matt Calorie chapter. So I think what you're doing on the show is fantastic.
The biggest disgrace in Gettysburg was addressing Gettysburg.
I do want to say for everyone, so I hope it doesn't scare you away, I promise people are not getting sprayed with blood and brain tissue on every page.
But
just every other.
Yeah. And I have, there's been people who said like, oh, it's too violent. I said, what I did was I just tried to be as realistic and accurate as I could. With all of it, again, there are some very violent battle scenes. There are some very tragic moments. I know when my wife, who is very, very helpful, and to say the least, in terms of editing for me, I'll hear her upstairs just bawling her eyes out, and I'll run upstairs and say, what's wrong? And she says, word I can't say, how could you have done this to this character? And da-da-da-da. So she, there are some very tragic moments, and there are a lot of very, very human moments. There's a lot of, when I say romance, I mean actual, love.
Yeah.
And
not a sordid sex scene.
No, well, there's some of that too.
Yeah, but not sordid.
No, but I just tried to make it.
It's not 50 Shades of Grey.
It is not, no. But I just tried to write the best human novel that I could that happens to be about the Civil War. I didn't want to write just a Civil War novel. I wanted to write a human novel that would be good regardless of genre, that people even who don't like the Civil War perhaps might like the book and perhaps decide that maybe they do like history.
Yeah, and I think to Cindy's point, like that, like guys, if you're, well, guys, but I hear a lot from women and it's the opposite. So people, if your spouse is like, oh God, we got to go to Gettysburg again, I don't know why you're so into this stuff, get them to read this book. And I honestly believe that John's writing will jump off the page right away, and they'll be like, hey, this is pretty good. Let me read it a little further. and they'll read it and they will get hooked and they'll fall in love with at least one of the characters in one way or another. And there's a little something in this book for everybody.
That's the idea. And I tried to make, all the characters, the brothers, they're not me. There's something, maybe a little bit of me
They're
in
not
all the characters.
5 aspects of your personality.
Like they're not. And I had to, at least for me, when writing, it was hard. I had to remind myself, like, you're not the character, because if nothing else, you're just going to they're all going to seem the same.
Yeah.
So you have to really try to make sure that the character doesn't necessarily react to something the way I would react to it.
And that's very hard to do, to write as someone else and be believable, right? Like you really have to understand people.
Yeah, one of the things that I tried to approach with the requisite humility is writing about people who I really can't fully understand. So writing about women, writing about people of color, and the challenges that they face and their particular aspects of their life and their experience. I feel like I have to write about them, and I want to write about them because for it to be a human novel, it has to have all of those things.
Sure.
But I can't pretend I'm like them.
But
so
can't you imagine if you were in their shoes, what would I feel?
So that's what I try to do,
Yeah.
and I have tried my whole life to make sure that I'm surrounded by a diverse group of people, and so hopefully that comes through.
But even I mean, I would argue that you don't even need to do that. I mean, you could. All you have to do is, and not everybody has this ability, but you need to be able to empathize. Like, you need to say, well, how would I feel if I was in that situation?
Sure.
And build on that.
And you have to be able to do that as a writer because, I was not in the military.
Right.
I was not a combat veteran in any way, shape, or form. And I can read every history book in the world. Like, I can read The Face of Battle by John Keegan. It doesn't mean I know anything about what it's like to actually have a bullet fly.
Well, I like that detail about, wiping the blood and brains off his face, because wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right?
So
Colby, you were in the Marines.
I was.
Did that ring true to anything from your experience where, you get splattered by someone else? And maybe you never were, but go.
I mean, yeah, I've had to burn camis and stuff because they're covered in other people's blood,
And does it? Can you put yourself on the camera while you're talking, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at you.
No, who wants to look at my bald? Okay. So go ahead. You've had to burn uniforms that.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. I mean, if you're out, sometimes we would be out for a month or so, and you'll have a change of clothes, but typically, when you get back to your main base, if you've had something like that happen and your uniform is covered in blood, they'll burn those camis, and then they'll just give you a sterile pair, which just means no name tapes. It won't say U.S. Marines. It won't have your name. It'll just be sterile, nothing on it. But you wear that instead, if that happens.
So, but the reaction to being splattered with somebody else's brains.
Brains I've never had on me. I've seen. I'll put it to you this way: one of the craziest things I ever saw was on my first deployment. It was a dual IED attack. So there was a suicide vest and a suicide vehicle-borne IED had gone off, and we were maybe a quarter of the mile down the road, and I was on QRF for our FOB. QRF is a quick reaction force. So these two explosions go off, and I remember you could hear it. It was very loud. We were very close. I looked over. There's this big smoke cloud, and I started running towards the trucks to get my gear on because I was a gunner. I was going to hop in the Humvee and the gun, and we're going to head down there and see what they need help with. And as I'm getting into the truck, the second one goes off, and it's even bigger. And we get down there, and we pull up on this entry control point into the city of Ramadi. And you guys have seen the T-wall barriers they have, the big concrete T-wall barriers.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably 2 feet thick, reinforced with rebar. And this suicide vehicle-borne IED, there were so many artillery shells in it. They were 155 artillery shells. I think they had 3 or 4, but so much explosive in one little area that it had blown the car door, the driver's door, through the rebar in the T-wall barrier. Jesus. And it was laying on the other side of the wall, smoke's rolling up, there's blood all on the inside of the door. Body part, I mean, dude, just, everything you read about, you're seeing it, and I'll be honest, the first time you see it, the biggest thing your mind is having to like wrap itself around,
right?
Like, holy crap, dude, this is real. Like,
right.
It's not. It's no longer a movie. I'm watching a guy drive by. They got him in the back of a pickup truck. He's an Iraqi policeman, and he's missing his leg from just above the kneecap, and his muscles are like, like jiggling out the end. It's just crazy, crazy stuff to see. So there is a bit of that, but I'll also say, like, I guess the counterpoint to that is you see enough of it and you become real cold to it.
Yeah.
You're like, this is just another day at the office. So initially it is very shocking, but then it just becomes normal.
Yeah. Good to keep that in mind. It just becomes normal, and
it is good to keep that in mind. I would say that's what I mean when I say humility. A writer such as myself should try to approach things with humility, because I've read every book I can get my hands on about history, military history. No amount of reading will ever mean that I have even a fraction of the understanding of what Colby was just describing of his personal experience. And so at the same time, I want to tell the story as best I can, even though knowing I was not in that position. So as a writer, you try your best to be as true to the subject as possible. So one of the things that I hope makes this novel unique compared to other Civil War novels is that even though it is fiction, and even though I tried to make the characters come alive, most of my research is the ORs and journals, things like that. So, for example, when I said this on the last show, but when I was writing the Gaines Mill scenes for the character who's in the 83rd Pennsylvania, I read the 83rd Pennsylvania's report in the ORs. I read that portion of Samuel Bates's History of Pennsylvania Volunteers. So I try to let the characters who are not real, but I try to have them resemble as much as possible the real people who did go through it. As much as I can.
All right, Volume 2.
Yes.
All right, where does Volume 1 end?
Volume 1 ends in the last days of July 1862. So as McClellan's army is sort of beginning to evacuate the peninsula, Volume 2 begins with Cedar Mountain and with the lead up essentially through Second Manassas to Antietam. And Volume 2 runs through July of 1863, when obviously some very important things happened.
I've never heard of any of this.
Yeah.
See, here's part of my problem. I swore to myself after reading Game of Thrones that I would never read another series until it was done.
Yep.
Because that was horrific.
Well, the same thing happened with the... Oh.
Go ahead.
The same thing happened, speaking of Civil War historical fiction, the same thing happened with the frickin' Starbuck Chronicles. He gets 4 stories in, and then he says he's not going to finish the character. So, yeah, I get that, but I'm glad that you've already said that you're, committed to doing 3.
Yes. Yeah, it
makes
is.
me feel
it's
good
3.
inside.
Yeah.
So don't think that I don't love you.
No, I understand.
But I'm not reading it until all 3 are done.
Well, I look forward to that.
And I'm sure a lot of people will take that approach, because some people like to be able to go right to the next thing.
I can't do it.
And like, Sydney, what do you think about that? Like, do you kind of wish that you'd waited till all 3 were done because you love the first one so much?
I could see that point, but I'm a slow reader. I have to be in the mood to read, so
Yeah. I often have to tell her to sound out the word.
War.
I've spent enough time with Sydney to know that's not true.
That's not true at all. She tells me to sound out the word. But that's okay though, because if Cindy did want to jump right into the second one,
it's coming out
on November 1st.
Yep.
Will there be an audiobook version ever?
I would like there
Matt
to be. I think
Powery.
you have to have a certain... I've not looked into what the Audible requirements are. But But I was actually going to say I know who I might want to, consider having do the audio version.
Yeah,
Kevin
Did a
Bryant,
portion of it.
licensed battlefield guide. Kevin Bryant, great
Well,
voice.
Last time
Got a wonderful
that I
power
was
code.
here, I believe you did. You read a portion as if you were Morgan Freeman. And
Did I?
Yes. And
Of
that
course
would
he
be,
did.
That would be fantastic.
Do I do
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman? I thought
You
I-
did, yes.
Let me see if I can
Yeah.
do it. Ordering one of
Oh
sorry.
wow.
That was pretty good, dude.
now I'm self-conscious. Ordering one more salvo of fire into their triumphant and unscathed enemy. Robert then shouted for the men around him to abandon ship.
That's pretty good, dude.
As the crews of the other guns did the same. Robert helped lower several lifeboats into the water below, and only when the ship was pointing almost directly upward towards the sky did he decide his turn had come.
Someone's watched some Ken Burns.
I'm telling you,
You could get Gettysburg Dump to do it too.
Yeah.
you
Gettysburg.
have an amazing ability to pick up people's cadence
Yeah.
of speaking, and that you do that with Matt Atkinson too. It's very creepy.
Yeah, I just got to work on getting the actual tone of their voice right.
But like,
Matt's is a little higher pitched.
Yeah, he's
little back
more up in
little
the nasal
Yep,
area there.
yep.
yeah, but it's
But
just
he
the-
could also go
the
down low
cadence.
too, ladies
I
and
think,
gentlemen.
I
That's
think
why.
to get Matt Atkinson really good, you got to raise your shoulders up to your ears. You know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
But he doesn't do that.
Just one.
Oh, just to get the voice.
Yeah. You know, just to get it up there.
No, Matt's got a good voice, and I do listen closely when he speaks because I want to try to really get a good Matt Atkinson impression.
He's good at leaving space.
See, the cool thing about your
Yeah.
job is you meet all these people who I would be like starstruck.
Right?
by,
Yeah, I'm
you know?
so
Right?
unimpressed
Yeah.
by everybody.
Matt Atkinson, Scott Hartwig, Jim
No,
Hessler,
Scott Hartwig,
like, I'd
I'm
be like,
impressed
yeah.
by. No, I like meeting everybody. Scott Hartwig to me is like meeting.
He's like the SEAL Team 6 of novelists. You know, like that's the vibe you get. Like he's super professional, is what I get. From
He's
him.
not.
Yeah.
At all.
But that's the vibe.
He's not. What do you mean he's not?
If you see
If
him
you
give a speech,
work
though,
with him, he's not.
if you see
Oh.
him give a talk, though, he seems like, dude, the guy is so well spoken. So
Yeah,
like,
he's
he
very
seems
good at what he
super
does.
smart,
No, he's great.
Super dialed in. You know.
To me, Scott Hartwig is the. I guess a lot of people look at Ed Bars as like the or
Yeah.
the William Frasanitos. Oh,
Yeah.
To me, it's Scott Hartwig because he was on all the History Channel
Oh,
shows
yeah.
I watched in high school.
PCN is basically Scott Hart.
Yeah,
Scott
and then
Hartwig's
and then
channel.
I moved here, and I've told this story before, and I've busted his chops about it, and he doesn't care. But the Park Service had put out an audition call for some video they were doing, and it was like 2 lines for this one part, and I practiced them, and I really was like, all right, I'm prepared for this. And I went to the audition, and it was Scott and whoever the director was, and I went in there, I did my audition, and I didn't get the part.
Rude.
Ouch.
It wasn't really. I didn't really do a good
Did
job.
Scott do it himself?
I don't know who did it. I refused to watch it. I said, well, fine. But, but Scott was, and I didn't know that. So I walk in there, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's Scott Hartwig. But then when I moved back here, that was the first time I lived here. When I moved back here, he was one of the first people I interviewed when I started building
Yeah.
up my recordings. And we were having wings down at the Gettysburg shed talking and before the recording. And I said, I auditioned for a video for you, and you didn't give me the part. And he's like, oh, yeah? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, meh. Went back to eating the wings.
Didn't care at all.
Couldn't care less.
I've met his mom and his brother.
Yeah, I met his mom at his book release party.
His brother's pretty
Oh, yeah,
New
you
York.
did too.
And then of course I work with his wife, so
He seems like a very
I'll just
nice
think of
guy, dude. He seems like a very nice dude.
He is a very nice guy. Yeah. All right, but back to this nice guy sitting in front of us here.
Well, hey, I was the one who
singing the
brought it
praises
up.
of everybody
like all
else.
these people. If I had met Harry Fonz while he was still alive, I probably would have genuflected.
No, it is.
Ed Barr.
Speaking as a
Like,
Catholic,
as a true
Isn't
Catholic,
that
yeah.
like
Exactly,
a true
yeah.
like a true thing?
yeah.
When speaking as somebody who works here, you hear these people,
Yeah.
and is it scary to you to think that you're now one of those people?
Oh, I'm not one of those people.
No. But think about it. You now have written something. It is out there in the ether. People like it. People enjoy it. You are now within the Civil War canon, so to speak. Get it? Canon. And then
Smoothbore.
I know, right? But now
Very smooth. Very
now,
smooth.
like
ball.
you're one of those people that like people are going to be like,
So-
oh, I just met Jonathan.
I will say, the first book. Obviously, the whole thing has been fun, but there was something about writing volume 2 when I got to Gettysburg, and I will say for the listeners of addressing Gettysburg that Gettysburg is a massive part of volume 2. Not only the battle itself, but there is a character who essentially lives in the town of Gettysburg from November of 1862 until the battle. So I try to show the town before it became
Yeah, I like
the
that.
battlefield.
So like she moves to the town.
She does, and so
to start a podcast.
see Little Round Top before it's Little Round Top, right?
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So
now, do you have them? Do you have her go to these different locations before?
A couple,
yeah.
So I think people who are very familiar with Gettysburg will know exactly what I'm talking about when I try to point out certain things that later become famous, right? But then
Rupp House.
Huh?
Rupp House.
Not quite that specific.
The Gettysburg
But
Museum of History.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Gettysburg is a huge part of Volume 2. And because Gettysburg has always been my favorite, I know it's a strange thing to say about an event that was so terrible, but it's always been my favorite thing in the world. And I always wanted to go to Gettysburg.
Yeah, I know.
Like, I always wanted to go to Gettysburg when my mom would say, like, where do you want to go? And, it was always Gettysburg. So to write about the events that I've read my whole life about was really cool. It was. Like, to write about fighting on not just the famous things. There's a lot of Little Round Top, but again, there's the second U.S. sharpshooters in front of Little Round Top. There's the artillery on Lower Seminary Ridge firing at the peach orchard. There's Sickles. I don't think I pronounced his name the way I'm supposed to with all the requisite hatred and all that stuff.
Sickles. Yeah.
But like all of that, Cemetery Hill, Culp's Hill. I wanted to write, and no offense to, like, The Killer Angels is one of my favorite novels that I've ever read. But it is, by its nature, very focused on just a couple things in the battle.
Yeah, sure. That's true.
I try to show as much as I can. One of the brothers is a member of the BMI, the Bureau of Military Information, on Meade's staff. So, it was really a lot of fun to write the scenes of Gettysburg, which by themselves are about 40,000 of the 180,000 words in the novel. So it's a lot of Gettysburg. I'll say that.
And where does that end? Or you do know where it ends because it comes out on the first. So where does the volume 2 end?
Volume 2
where's
ends,
volume 3?
Volume 2 ends right in the aftermath of Gettysburg and Vicksburg.
Okay.
So, it was very, very cool to have the interspersed scenes of the simultaneous events of Gettysburg and Vicksburg happening at the same time. And I do just want to say, you said, how does it feel to have written a book about Gettysburg? Again, nothing like what people like Harry Fawns and Edwin Coddington and all those people did. But it was really cool to go to a store, to the Gettysburg Heritage Center, and see
your book.
Just walk in and see my book on the shelf.
Yeah.
And the reason why that was cool was my mom took me there when I was a little kid. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it was called the Heritage Center.
It was the Wax Museum.
Yeah.
Wax Museum, yeah.
So she took me there when I was like 5. And she passed away a few years ago, and I miss her very, very much. And so it was very, very cool to go in there and see my book on the shelf and be like, well, Mom, look what I did.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
that was cool.
Here's another excerpt.
Oh, geez.
Battle scene, I guess.
The crashing of hundreds of rifles and cannon grew louder toward the rightmost regiments, still fighting on their hill and behind their stone wall. Abruptly, a noise shook Charles from his spell of battle-induced delight. It was an eerie wave of sound emanated. It was an eerie wave of sounds emanated from many throats, like scores of fox hunt yips, and shouts mixed together with an inexorable wave of audible horror. The rebel yell. Wendall Clarkson.
From the Gospel of Jonathan Lucci.
Okay, go ahead. One last question.
I don't even know what to ask you because I really am like impressed by the length of the book because that's not.
Thank God you said that. Here, hold it.
Because
How many words is it, Colby asked?
The Heavens Falling is 160,000 words, and
That's too long.
Yeah, the Beauty of the Lilies, for those of you who were hoping it would be shorter, is 185,000 words.
Do you have a title already for Volume 3?
Yes, and I've started writing Volume 3.
What is the title?
The Judgments of the Lord, which
Okay.
is
Good.
So they're all the Heavens Falling. Just real quick, the Heavens Falling is taken from a quote by John Quincy Adams, and it's in the beginning of the book where he quoted what is actually an ancient Roman aphorism of "Let justice be done, though the heavens fall."
May fall. Yeah.
Because he was speaking to a crowd of freed slaves in Pittsburgh, actually, before the war, long before the war, and he was saying, the day of your liberation is going to come someday, and in Congress he said, that he would want that to come, even if it meant the blood of thousands of white men, and a Southerner who was horrified said, what if it was a million white men? And he said, well, if it was, 10 million white men or something of that nature, I'm paraphrasing, let justice be done, though the heavens fall. And the Beauty of the Lilies is, of course, taken from the Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Right.
And the Judgments of the Lord is taken from Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address.
Beautiful. The amount of thought that goes into this is really impressive. And that's where I find the beauty in things like this is like, there's thought, and maybe people don't even get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might not be so obvious to many people, but if they ask and you answer, they find that there's really thought and heart that goes into this thing. And that's why it's so good. And it really just does come off the page there. So,
and it's set in Western Pennsylvania, as all things should be.
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Beaver, Pennsylvania, just north of Pittsburgh.
Enough beaver.
Yes.
Enough beaver.
Yes, I am forever. I always tell people I could live and I love Winchester, Virginia, where I live. I do. It's beautiful, but I will always be from Pittsburgh. When you're from Pittsburgh, you are always from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. You guys are a different breed out there. It's almost like you're on an island.
An island with 6 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
It's called Pennsyltucky Island.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And the rest of the country just does not get it.
But isn't it funny? Like somebody said to me the other day about how I have a girlfriend that I work with who's from Wisconsin, and she always talks about that. And she says, "I'm from Wisconsin," but I never say I'm from I'm always like, I'm from Clarion.
Right.
You're from Clarion.
Yeah, you're from Clarion.
Okay, my brother graduated from Clarion.
See, all roads lead to Clarion.
Really?
Yes.
Do they? Why? I've never heard of it until I met you.
I almost went to Clarion, and being at the time I was thinking about being a priest.
Yeah.
And I went to visit Clarion, and the very reasons my brother loved it, which was that it was they were professionals at partying.
Okay.
My mother picked me up the next day, and I said, "Mom, can we go to church?"
Really?
I said, "I think I should go to a Catholic university."
Really?
Yeah. So,
wow.
And that's how I met my wife.
Scared by the partying.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Oh,
I was when you guys were talking in your first segment about all this stuff.
All the
music and TV shows, I was like, man, I really wasn't very cool when I was a
Really?
kid because I don't know half of what you're talking
You were a good Catholic boy. Were you an altar boy?
I was not, but I went to Catholic school, and then I always, my brother was an altar boy, and he always teases me that, oh, you weren't an altar boy. I said, I went to Franciscan University, which is a very conservative Catholic school, so I think that gets me extra credit.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Clarion. I'm from I am.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we all went to Catholic school. We all suffered in Catholic school.
I went to Pentecostal school.
Oh,
Okay.
Colby
Of course
went to
he did.
Pentecostal
Yeah.
school, which is probably worse, actually, right?
I can tell you this: they had a baby bear, mama bear, and papa bear paddle. And if you got that was the degree of trouble you got with the size of the paddle.
Yeah.
The papa
Oh,
bear
gotcha.
paddle- the papa bear paddle was like yay long.
Yeah, people can't see you,
Well,
Colby.
here. Was like yay long,
Right?
yay thick, and had holes in it. so it was more aerodynamic.
Yeah.
Or you could hear that thing sing when they.
Oh, that does not sound
We
fun
didn't-
at all.
Yeah,
That never-
with Catholics, we just use guilt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's
We're really
enough.
good at it.
We weren't allowed to. They weren't allowed to hit us by the time we
Yeah.
were in school.
Yeah.
That stopped in the '60s, I think.
Not
I think. My dad used to tell me stories of when they were learning penmanship. They would put like a quarter on their hand, and the nun would walk around with a ruler. And if she heard the quarter fall off your hand, she'd whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got whacked by a ruler. I have a scar from it, but it was accidental. My first grade teacher was trying to tell us about how the nuns would do stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, just like this. And she pretended to whack me, but it was one of those wooden rulers with the metal strip in
yeah,
it.
like a sword.
And she actually got me.
She caught you?
My
Yeah.
mom told me a lot
She
of
was
stories
horrified.
about nuns in Catholic school. But my when I went to college, I wanted to be a priest, and my soon-to-be wife wanted to be a nun, and then we met and changed our plans.
And said, yeah, enough of
That
this.
does happen.
And I told her, I was like, "You're way too nice to be a nun."
Yeah.
Which now, of course, I'm going straight to hell.
She is. She is too sweet to be a nun. You're right.
I don't think I've met her.
No, you haven't.
I need to
Did
meet
you? Yeah, she didn't come up, huh?
I
No,
think you
she
met
came
her
to-
briefly at the cookout.
at the party, yeah.
at Matt's house.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
That's
Yeah.
when I knew I had finally turned cool, by the way.
Why?
Was when I got invited to Matt Calories.
We got to redefine your.
Said
Yeah.
nobody ever.
I almost spit my drink across the room. Matt Callery's house is the cool place where all the cool kids hang.
You really were. You really were a sheltered
Oh yeah,
child.
I was. Yeah. I was in my backyard playing Civil War with a stick by myself after watching Ken Burns' The Civil War.
Well, I was-
Yeah, we were doing that
I
too.
was doing it too,
Yeah.
but I had a fake musket like you could still
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah.
Except in those days, there was no stupid orange cap.
I remember, yeah.
Because
But-
people were smart enough to know the difference between a fake gun and a real gun.
Yeah, but see, I thought a stick was more versatile. It could be a sword, it could be a rifle.
Oh, it could be a
Yeah.
club.
Yeah, it could be almost anything, yeah.
I did want to say, so I do think people who buy the book will probably notice that, so I would say my education in philosophy and theology probably comes through a lot of it as well. So again,
But again, you're not hitting them over the head with God or anything.
No, actually not at all, in the sense of the characters all have very different views on God and religion and everything like that. What I mean, again, is I hope that the book really speaks to why this all means something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think if all it is this unit moved here and that unit moved here, as cool as that is, it's divorced and shorn away from the things that give it meaning.
Yeah,
So-
why are those units even out in the
Right.
field to move? What is behind all that? So yeah, of course you got to get to that. All right, November 1st, it comes out. You can get, I put a link, ladies and gentlemen, in the description of this episode to get Volume 1. Volume 2 comes out on November 1st.
Yep.
And that will be available on Amazon.
Yep.
And you will go and you will get it, and you will love it, and you will like it, and you will support our friend who is also a fellow patron, if you're patrons, and a listener of Addressing Gettysburg. And would you like him to sign that for you? I
No,
know I
I'm
broke the
just-
spine. Oh, wait, but how do you read a book without breaking the spine? What is
now it
wrong
will
with you?
forever open to this page.
No.
Like you literally
To lay flat
he
if you
broke-
don't break the spine.
He broke.
I see. Yeah.
Bethany, I mean, that just sounds like someone that doesn't use their book.
Yeah, you just have books for decoration. I
No.
have books to use.
All you have to do is do this,
Mm.
and look.
No,
there's
it's
no
a pain in
breakage of
the
the
you-
spine.
First of all, that book is 25 pounds. Okay? And you know, if I have the time to read, I have the time to read,
For
and I'll
those
sit there and
who
read.
don't want to read a 25-pound book, it is available on Kindle.
It's available on Kindle, and someday
can't break the
Morgan
spine of
Freeman and Wendall Clarkson will do. They'll alternate chapters and read the book for Audible.
Yes,
I think that would be great.
With a special appearance by Gettysburg Gump.
The Heavens Falling, a novel of the Civil War by Jonathan Lucci. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. No,
now you're gonna get me sued.
That's a different book. That's a different one. All right, listen, where are you going to join us for dinner?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you have a place you'd rather go?
No, I'll let you guys who are lucky enough to live here decide.
All righty then. We will be
Someday.
back after these words. Thanks, Jonathan Lucci. We'll be back after these words, ladies and gentlemen, with some exciting news. No, that's not it. No, it is.
Been craving a Hot Pocket or a bag of popcorn? Now's the time to go and get it. We'll be right back.
Want the freshest cup of coffee in Gettysburg? Then visit Bantam Roasters, formerly 82 Cafe at 82 Steinware Avenue. They roast all of their coffee in-house, and they have a full coffee bar to keep you caffeinated during your trip. Visit them at www.raggededgerc.com for their menu and shipping options for all of their freshly roasted coffee. Use promo code Hancock for 10% off your order in the cafe.
Enjoy historical stories on the History Fix platform. Explore movies, short films, and documentaries. Addressing Gettysburg podcast fans receive an extra $5 off the first year's annual subscription. Sign up at historyfix.com and use promo code Gettysburg. Every subscription includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Escape into history with History Fix.
This episode of Addressing Gettysburg is brought to you in part by me, audiobook narrator Mike Scott. Narrator of Savis Beattie's Bloody Autumn, the Shenandoah Valley Campaign of 1864, and Unlike Anything That Ever Floated, The Monitor and Virginia and the Battle of Hampton Roads. If you are an author or publisher interested in having your titles produced as audiobooks, or even just in learning more about the process, give me a shout. You can find my contact info on my website, MikeScottVoice.com. That's MikeScottVoice.com.
The 1863 civilians of Gettysburg were reluctant witnesses to the Great Battle. Join Ken Rich, the man in the red shirt, for his historic town walking tours. You could book these tours by emailing ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. That's ken@gettysburgtownhistory.com. And when you're in town, look for the guy in the red shirt. And Civil War Trails. It's the world's largest open-air museum, and they offer over 1,300 sites across 6 states. Drive the Gettysburg campaign turn by turn, paddle to Frederick Douglass's birthplace, or hike to remote earthworks and artillery positions. Visit civilwartrails.org to request a brochure and explore their interactive map. Follow Civil War Trails and create some history of your own.
You're listening to the Addressing Gettysburg podcast with Matt Callery.
Colby's peeing. All right. Hey, did you know, girls, Colby, everybody, that there are almost 300 audio shows and almost 100 video shows on our Patreon page?
That's pretty awesome.
Did you know that several respectable licensed Battlefield guides are patrons?
Wow.
But they've asked to remain nameless so as to not ruin their reputation.
That's not true.
Are they embarrassed by you?
Yes, that's the point.
They're not. That's not true.
It's true. Just
No.
ask Ralph or
was
Rob or
Charlie.
Jason. Patreon now allows, or Lewis. I won't say their last names. Patreon now allows you, ladies and gentlemen, to have a 7-day free trial. Now, I could choose whatever level I wanted. I could have chosen the level where you get the least amount of perks, but I said no. I'm going to give them the best value level, which would be the second lieutenant, because you get all of the audio shows for the month. So you get that for 7 days, 7-day free trial. Might go away for a while. I'll bring it back, and I'll go away, bring it back. But right now it's there. If you're not sure that you want to join. And it also allows you to purchase individual episodes. This is a new thing that they've allowed. Now I got to go through all the episodes and put them on there. Yeah, and open it up. It's cheaper if you become a monthly member. You can also have annual subscriptions. There's a discount if you do that. And did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that 908 out of 909 college sophomores agree that you can't say you're fully prepared for the guide exam without having consumed all of Addressing Gettysburg's Patreon content. How do you do that? Become a second lieutenant. Guys, these are college sophomores. Okay? They know everything. They know everything. Just watch the news, watch TikTok. They will tell you. That's it. That's it. Go to patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg to become a patron. I was going to say a life sabbatical guide. That's not what you become if you do that. Become a patron. Addressing Gettysburg. Patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg. Do it. Just do it and make Bethany happy, okay?
Do it.
Do it.
You picture the 20th Maine, and you're happy once again.
Fight the battle against being slow with little ground top bro. Hey now, you know, I want to tell you something. A beep a scoodle doo dop dee, squiddly dee, skitty bee, cutie. All right, so.
I liked that transition.
Thank you. Little Ground Top, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you know what? Go to Little Ground Top. Are you on it there, Colby? Because we've got some pictures that listeners have been.
Look up. Well, I'm on it, man.
I can't. I get it off the board. I don't get the output.
I'm on it. You're good.
Beautiful. Last night, in fact, our friend Ricky Fowler sent a picture of his wife holding two bags of Little Ground Top. And he said it was part of a coffee-themed gift that he gave her. So
what
thank you.
Idea.
What a great idea, indeed. And hey, Christmas is coming up, ladies and gentlemen.
It sure is.
You know what you could do. And Thanksgiving is too. So, you know, you want to have an enjoyable cup of coffee with dessert after your Thanksgiving meal.
Mm-hmm.
Better start ordering soon. I was told the other day at Bantam Roasters, tell everybody if they're going to order for the holidays to get the order in ahead of time, well ahead of time, because they are already getting slammed with Little Ground Top orders. And thank you for that, by the way. The combination of cacao, wildflowers, and toasted sugar creates a nuanced cup of coffee that is both intriguing and satisfying. It's a great choice for those who appreciate a complex profile with a touch of sweetness and floral elegance. Whether you're a seasoned coffee drinker like Colby, or just looking to elevate your morning routine, like Bethany, this blend is sure to impress, like Cindy. So whether you're near or far, let Bantam Roasters bring a taste of Gettysburg to you, and cacao. Gettysburg plus cacao. Thank you, Matt, that's it. So go to Bantam Roasters at 82 Steinway Avenue. The next time you're in town, it's straight across the street from the Dobbin House, which, of course, you will be probably eating at and having a Rumbelly's Vengeance. And then you can also, if you can't get there, you'll go to addressinggettysburg.com/cafe because you're so curious. You want to try it. And you're going to do that. addressinggettysburg.com/cafe.
Hey, the studio line costs us money. So use it. Call 717-420-1978 and join the discussion, ask a question or whatever. Just stop us from wasting money on the damn phone line. Oh, we're back.
All right. So we're going to write that down. All right, Ryan Dunn wrote in and he said, I've always had a love of Gettysburg and found your podcast through Apple Podcasts. I decided to become a Patreon member because of the kind hospitality you showed me when I wrote that review for Bantam Roasters' Little Ground Top blend of coffee for you, and you read it on your show. That copy that I just read to you is what Ryan wrote. Better than anything I wrote, or frankly, I wrote with Bantam Roasters people. We were like, what do we write about this? I'm like, oh, let's just figure something out. But Ryan did it. And he goes, from that moment and the fact that I'm missing out on all the Patreon episodes, couldn't get as a free listener, I wanted to support this show. Well, thank you very much for your support there, Ryan. I appreciate it. I appreciate the great review you wrote. And any of you, if you want to write a review, we'll read it as a commercial. Like that's, I said to him, write a review. He wrote a commercial. That's different. That's not a review. That's a commercial. So I read it. There, and that's how that works. What? What are you laughing at? All right. Now, what was the other thing? Oh, so Apple Harvest Festival was last weekend.
Mm-hmm. And this weekend.
Did you have fun, Matt?
There's a reason why I don't. What is the word I'm looking for? There's a reason why I don't like to go to events.
Plan things.
No, events. I don't like to go where there's crowds. And here's what happened. We live on the old Harrisburg Road, so it's north of town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This was in Biglerville.
Yes.
Okay. So the GPS took us up Old Harrisburg Road, over to Goldenville Road, across the Carlisle Road or the Biglerville Road. Okay. And so I'm like, all right, well, I don't know specifically where this is in Biglerville, and I know Biglerville kind of stretches out into the wilderness, and so whatever, I'm going to follow it. Ends up taking us all the way out to 30, puts us on 30, then up to the blinker at the Cashtown Road, turn right on the Cashtown Road, past the Round Barn, all the way through, and now we start seeing signs for event parking, and we start following the signs for event parking. 2 hours later, we pull up to the goddamn parking lot, and I'm like, you know what? F it. Now, the reason, now you say, what an idiot. Why would you do that? You just got there, right? Okay, well now here's the other thing that's going on. Jen Murray and Mike Walker are meeting us there. Colby and Tay are meeting us there as well. All right?
Can I tell my experience?
Yeah. Oh. All right.
Because I think it's important they know the contrast.
No. Yeah. They're already there.
Mm-hmm.
Jen and Mike are already there.
Mm-hmm.
Jen and Mike are coming from Carlisle. Colby and Tay coming from this area as well, right? We're supposed to meet at 1 o'clock. We don't get to the parking lot till like 3.
Well, no, it was
2:45.
It was 2:22.
2:22.
Up to the parking lot and told the lady we're waiting.
2:22. We left at about 12:20 or 12:30, right?
It was just before 12:20. It was 2 hours.
It was 2 hours. Now,
trying to get.
Okay, all right. Now, we're communicating with Jen and Mike and Colby and Tay. Okay, they're in there. But Jen and Mike are like, ticket line is long. And then we're like, well, we got ours online. And he's like, oh, you're lucky. Well, those are okay, blah, 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 blah. Colby is like, dude, where are you? We're drunk already, And they weren't even out of their car yet. And so, now, okay, Colby, now go ahead. Give your perspective there. What was your experience like getting in there? Because we're not done.
So we leave. We probably left to get there maybe 20 minutes before you guys did.
All right.
And we came in the same direction.
All right.
Past the Round Bar and all that.
Yeah.
And all that. But we hit a little bit of traffic, and we were in it for maybe 20 minutes, and we had gotten next to like this event parking lot that they had closed off. It said it was full. But as we're like driving up to it, I'm like, dude, I see like 11 parking spaces right there,
Yeah.
And dude, sure enough, as soon as we got even with the entrance to that place, lady comes walking out, pulls the rope back, pulls the sign out of the ground, lets us in, and we park right when we pull in.
Beginner's luck.
We walk from there to the park, maybe a quarter of a mile, and we were like the 4th people in line to get tickets, so didn't wait long for that either.
Right.
Went in, did our thing. The lines were long inside.
The audience is saying, why can't they see you?
Oh, good. I'm used to not having it back here.
Well, you've got one now. And it cost me $10,000.
They see like a side profile.
That's all right. That's behind the scenes.
A little bit of gray over here.
You tell the story.
So, anyways, we're texting with you guys, and by the time like I was making the joke that Matt's going to be late anyways, so like 1 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Matt's going to be late anyway.
Listen,
I can tell you 12 things you did wrong.
Well, hold on. Let's
so
get through the
far
story
in the
first.
Story. Yeah.
So I told Taylor, I was like, don't you don't have to worry about texting them. If they're here a little bit late, that'll be all right. We'll just start hanging out. Well, it gets to be like 1, 1:30, 1:45. I'm like, text them, see where they're at, And so she's talking with Cindy, and she's like, well, they're still waiting in traffic. And then, another little bit goes by. And so by the time we get to like 2:20, like you guys said, or whatever the time frame was when we decided to call it, Taylor and I are like, well, we've done everything already.
Right.
It's hot. Like,
Right.
we're ready
And
to
so
go.
probably around that time, I'm in the car saying to Cindy, by the time we get there, they're all going to be done. Because Taylor kept saying, oh, it's so hot. Oh, it's so hot.
Right.
I'm like, how much more does she have in her before she's,
But at
Colby,
the
take
same
me home?
Time, we're approaching the parking lot, and I go to their Facebook page. And that's what happened. And that's when we decided to call it and say, we're not doing this.
Right.
Because they made a post on their Facebook page at the National Apple Harvest Festival about, 5 minutes before I pulled it up that said, hey, we apologize. We understand that there has been a lot of people who have turned around and gone home because the waits are so long to find parking, and that the original lots that they had set aside were just in too rough of shape from all of the rain. So they had to close them and find alternate parking, and they were running out of parking. So they were having to reroute people. And all the comments are, waited an hour and a half and went home. Waited 2 hours and called and said, I'm leaving. And so I'm sitting here like, we're never going to get out of here. We get in, and we're looking at the line coming out of the parking lot. And it's so long, and nobody's moving.
And by the way,
the bus
empty buses, or not empty buses, but buses going to the site are in traffic. So we're like,
going to it.
So okay, we're gonna get in the lot. It's gonna be, sit in line until you get to a parking space, get out, go to a shuttle, and then sit in traffic again to go to the site, which, as the crow flies, was 2 miles from parking.
Yeah.
But God knows how long it is on those roads which we were already on.
Yeah.
And so, by the way, FGPS, because had I gone with my instinct and just turned right on the Biglerville Road, we would have gotten up there sooner and probably not have taken 2 hours because we would have sat in traffic for much less time. Anyway, so we finally get up there, and I pull off to the side of the road, and I say to the traffic person, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going in yet. I don't want to get stuck in there. I got to call my friends. So we call everybody or text or whatever, and we're like, all right, are you guys about done? Because it's going to take us another probably 45 minutes to get in there at best. We're just going to go to the Thirsty Tractor. Or what's it called?
The Thirsty Farmer.
The Thirsty Farmer. The Happy
Thirsty
Farmer?
Farmer.
Happy.
Thirsty Farmer.
Right across from the Round Barn.
Yeah.
So we go out there. Now, delicious. I love the food there. Very good food.
It's a great atmosphere.
Great atmosphere. The beer was good. And we sat there and we had a nice time. They had a band, and it made the day for me, and it was good. And
good.
Bumped into a couple of listeners, and it was nice. So, Now, it's not the Apple Harvest Festival fault that the fields were all muddy, right? I mean, so you're not blaming them. I said to Cindy, I'm like, see, this is why I just don't like doing these things, because it never is just easy. It's never just go in. It's stand there in line. And then, now, we still have tickets. We're going to try to go this weekend, right?
We can try.
We're gonna find out what the traffic's like, but we're going to try.
Go earlier.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. We're going to go earlier. But, I would like to see it. I've never been to one, and I've always, heard about them and everything. But the thing is, in my experience, when there's a big, long wait to get in, it's never worth the wait. The juice is never worth the squeeze.
Well, I think it
you
raises
stand in
your
line
expectations when you wait for so long.
You think this
You're
is
like,
great. All these people want to get in here.
Everybody has to be here.
Yeah.
So,
It's definitely not worth a 2 hour wait.
They'll probably be back to their original parking lots
Hopefully,
too, because
hopefully.
it hasn't really been raining. So hopefully they'll be back too.
That's what's weird though, is because I parked in the same parking lot I did last year. Like we weren't.
I think the southern ones were the ones they were having trouble with.
Always trouble from the southern ones.
Yeah.
I mean, that I would call the southern ones. I don't know what they call them. Like the differences between their parking.
Yeah.
Yens.
What were you in?
Yens.
Wolf lot, or was it Wolf?
That's where we were going to
Yeah.
go. That wasn't where he was.
Good. No, we were only like a quarter mile from the entrance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
you
got
walked.
Lucky.
Yeah, we
yeah,
walked.
they walked.
Yeah.
He got lucky. You can't even listen to his story. He just lucked out.
That's just me, dude. That's how I roll.
What time did you go?
Good
Well,
for
like
you.
20 minutes before you guys did. I'm
Asshole.
telling you, we were like 30 minutes ahead of you, maybe.
But how did you get there without sitting in all that traffic?
We sat in some. We sat in like 20 minutes of traffic.
But
then
then,
they opened
right
the
when he
lots.
got there to a lot,
they opened
they
up the
open
lot.
it. So he got to just pull in and
What
park.
a jerk.
And then he didn't even have to wait to leave.
No, we were right by the exit.
Because
and
he was
she-
by the exit.
the
So he's
lady-
like, can I go out this way? And she says, sure.
Oh, what a
Let
jerk.
us out at the exit. Shit, dude, it was the most like.
I bet you just walk between the raindrops.
Sometimes I do.
Sometimes I do. I've never had to wait, so yeah, they must have been all in a kerfluffle.
Well, I mean, and I did feel bad for them because they obviously had to address it somehow. So they did apologize, but it didn't
felt
matter.
bad.
You know, I didn't even have any desire to go in after sitting in the car for 2 hours. And then you're hearing there's lines for everything you want to
Yeah.
do. Like,
Right.
like Taylor's saying, well, you know, we kind of picked what we wanted to do or try based on what the shortest lines were. And what is that? You know, like
Yeah.
I want to do what I want to do. So
you have
Yeah.
to go when
I don't
they're
know.
calling for
get
rain.
I didn't get to eat any of the things that I actually wanted to eat.
Well, and that's the
Right.
other thing. So I was starving by this point,
Yeah.
right?
Oh no.
Because we didn't
yeah.
eat breakfast, right? We didn't. And so it was like, and we knew we were going to go to the Happy Tractor after
Thirsty
Farmer.
Thirsty Farmer.
We were going to go to the Thirsty Farmer afterwards anyway with everybody. So I was like, why don't we just skip ahead to that? So we did. We went over there and it was nice. But anyway, yeah, that was the other thing. If I wanted to, eat some food and there's a big, it's not even a line, it's a mob of people in front of these things. I just would have gotten grouchy and cranky and.
Well, and then Jen
Cindy
and
would have
Mike were
dumped me.
saying how, like, even if we were together, there's no way we could walk together.
We wouldn't
be
It
able
was
to
just
stay
so
a group.
congested that
Nah.
you couldn't
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
like,
it's like a bunch of refugees on a
it was
boat.
not a
just
great
like
plan.
shoulder to
You
shoulder.
know, it was
yeah.
a good thought, not a great plan.
Yeah, you don't want that stuff.
Well,
That's
you need,
crazy.
Yeah, you need to go when they're calling for rain.
It was because it was also dusty too. That's another thing. I was
Yeah.
surprised at how dusty.
Huh.
it
Well, it's
was.
all like
Well, it had
dirt
been,
roads.
It had
yeah.
been raining so much before that, though. So I thought it would be muddy, to be quite honest. But no, dude, there were so many people walking around in there. It was.
Well, it must have been the high ground.
We went one time that it had rained and it was so muddy that you couldn't walk anywhere. And I tried to walk across to Reed's, the cider place, to pick up I had ordered something in the morning. It rained, so I went to go pick up what I had ordered, so I didn't have to carry it around. And I got stuck in the mud.
Well, apparently
I had to
the-
take my shoe off and pull it
Oh
out
my
of the
God.
mud.
Oh, that's
and walk-
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like when that happens.
really great.
Well, the cider line was the longest line, right, Colby? I think that's what Taylor said.
It was, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
got the wrong ones, man. The ones we got, we didn't really like that much. We tried a sample of it, and it tasted all right in the sample. Then he poured us a whole. It was like too sweet. Whatever one he poured us was too sweet, so we ended up going to the beer line, which surprisingly there was no line.
Well, I was talking about the pressed cider, but yes, the alcoholic cider also had long lines, I'm sure.
Marie and Chad went there, and
Oh, they made it.
Yeah, they made it, and she said
On
that
Saturday?
they didn't have. They got lucky. They didn't have any of the problems that we did, so they must have gone early enough.
Mm.
But she said the warm Alpine spice wine
Oh.
and the pumpkin funnel cake.
Oh.
This is why
Now
I hate fall,
that-
because it's all this stuff that you just, kills your
Are
diet.
you gonna just
Delicious.
literally be grumpy about this thing
Mhm.
from moment one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, as long as you're consistent.
I will say
No.
he tried. He
I
did.
tried really hard.
He wasn't
did.
grumpy after the fact either. Like when we were
We had
when
beer.
We were at the restaurant.
And I got
It was-
to eat.
Yeah, we were good.
All I wanted to
But
do
there
was
was-
eat
But there was a wait for food, and you were still very happy.
because I had beer,
I mean, you can't beat that.
and it was the high alcohol.
It was nice. It was a nice day out.
Yeah.
Was, and they sell Mason-Dixon
What
products.
did I do
too.
this past weekend?
I don't know.
No,
What'd
you
do?
said you were going on Sunday.
Well, yeah, you asked us to go on Sunday, and we couldn't because we had something else to do. But that would have been, with Ezra dragging
Oh, it would
him
have been
around. It
miserable,
would have
yeah.
been a nightmare for us, not for you, but for us, it would have been
What
terrible.
did I do?
I don't know. Maybe you did nothing, but you stayed home and stuff, right? No. She's thinking.
Yeah. Must have been something really exciting.
I don't remember at all what I did this weekend.
Okay, well, you had the muster, and then followed by...
Oh, you ate mustard.
Oh! It was fall muster. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why my whole weekend was that.
There you go.
Muster. Are you in the reserves?
Yeah, we had fall
Fall
muster, which is our big event at the foundation. I did that on Saturday, and then Sunday I slept. That's what I did. Figured it out.
You did it. You figured it out.
Figured it out.
All right, and then so that's great. That's great. That's what you did. I don't know. I would like to try to go this week, and I want to just see what it's like.
Well,
we
and
bought
Paige
the
will be
tickets.
home, so-
And Paige will be home.
If you get a chance, you should try there's like a pit barbecue thing that the line was just insane
Yeah,
for.
that's always insane.
But if it's not super crowded, you should get it and tell me how good it is because it smelled amazing.
I will.
I'm telling you, the apple sausage.
See,
with
Colby,
the
this would be for
sauerkraut.
the 4 shot here because you're involved in the
I
conversation.
haven't changed this though because I don't have to do the for whatever reason. If I just leave it on this one, I don't have to do the on air. But let me try it here. Hold on. Oh, see, that's the on air button came on.
There you go.
So for some reason, I'm gonna mess with the cameras for a minute, everybody. Hold
Go
on
ahead.
A second.
I'm sure they're all.
All right, so now we're back. We're back to Matt. Let's see. All right, dude. Look, so
There you go, dude.
If I leave it on the one,
right,
the on-air button doesn't come on. It's only when you switch between the multi-cam things that they come on. Sorry,
Understood.
everybody.
Understood. All right.
That's how the
Why
sausage
does
is
the
made.
on-air button mean anything?
I don't even know. I had my friend come by and set it up, and he set it up, but he didn't quite explain it to me why everything is the way it is. He just said, "Here's how you undo it."
Oh, okay.
And so But anyway,
Back to
I
the
should have
Thirsty
asked.
Farmer.
Consistencies.
I got to shout them out for their donuts. Were amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. You got to go to the Thirsty Farmer when you come to town. It's out by the Round Barn. It's this bit of drive straight out 30, make one right, and there it is. It's really good.
Really good.
It's really good. You will enjoy it, ladies and gentlemen, especially you alkies out there who like your beer. I mean, I enjoyed the beer, but I needed the beer because of the earlier day. Right. I could go months without anything, unlike Colby.
I can go
Don't
weeks.
say that about.
You can go how long,
Colby.
Colb?
I can go weeks. I haven't had any this week.
Without anything.
Yeah. Well, no alcohol.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
No
say.
substance? Nah.
You got to get that Heron. Blue Heron. Speaking of Blue Heron, how's everything doing down at Lake Crawford?
I haven't been down for a while.
Yeah, I haven't either.
What's Lake Crawford?
Oh,
Oh,
boy.
boy,
beaver
Colby.
pond.
Oh, boy. Are you for serious?
Even I know what that is.
Come on, Colby.
Dude,
Really?
I got too many things going on to have everything we talk about.
Well, you know what else has too many things going on?
You.
The news.
I knew it.
Now, all the news that's fit to print and a good deal that's not. Here's AG Today's lead anchor Bethany Yingling with current events and sidewalk conditions.
Man sought accused of abandoning dog at Adams County SPCA.
The Warriors logo is back in the news with a final decision by the State Department.
Gettysburg Area Recreation Authority announces its new executive director.
A new shopping center is proposed in East Gettysburg. All this and more on today's news.
So we're going to go out of order a little bit because
Wow.
I'm really excited to find out about the Warriors logo.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the hot topic of the night.
let's
So
get
we're going
into
to
that.
start with that.
Okay. So, for those of you that haven't been up on the news, about a year ago now almost?
Yeah, it seems like it.
started.
She, a local woman trademarked the Adams County, the Gettysburg Area School District logo, the Warriors. Her proposed reason for doing so was to then charge the school for use of it, so that she could earn money for after-school programs for youth. That was
Unbelievable.
what her original thing was. Since then, it has devolved into a shenanigans that eventually made it to the State Department, and it was ruled in the following way. But I will say that, do you remember, this is my favorite part, I had forgotten about this, but when I read it, I was like, right, that the last thing she claimed was that they were two separate logos. They
Yeah.
weren't anything like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
your Hail Mary.
What did the State Department claim?
So her defense was that the logo she filed with the Department of State looks distinctly different, although from the enough from the district's logo that it should be considered a different logo entirely. CBS 21 reached out to the Department of State Wednesday, who confirmed that as of Tuesday, Demp's filed logo would be canceled due to the district being able to provide evidence to claim first use of the logo, solidifying that the officials
Finally, something that makes
solidifying
sense.
that officials considered both Demp's and the district's logo as one and the same.
Good. It's
They
nice
sure
to hear
looked
a
it.
sensible
She
decision.
now has 30 days as of Tuesday to file an appeal. We got to go
course.
through that process. They contacted her but never heard back. And as of right now, the merchandise still seems to be available to purchase online. So they did officially tell her that she needs to do it.
Good. I'm so glad.
Well,
finally,
especially since
government, you did something right.
especially though, since I think that the important part to note is that she happens to run a business that provides after school programs. So I think that that's an important part to note about that.
Why?
Because what she was fundraising for
Was
the
her own
school was for
business.
the school to be able to provide after school programs to the children.
So she could get paid.
Correct.
She
well,
wanted she wanted to get
allegedly.
paid so she could get paid.
Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly.
So,
Long time. He
So
loved Joy
I'm-
long time.
Go ahead. You done with that story?
yeah, well, I think it's interesting. Like, they're calling it done. Now, she does have the
right.
opportunity to appeal. So we're not officially done.
Yeah.
But she has 30 days. So we'll see what happens in 30 days.
But this isn't. I
should we
mean,
take
you know,
that?
how dumb is the appeals court that they're gonna go for that?
Well, I mean, but it's more for the school. You know, like they would then have to extend all of the shenanigans, pay for a lawyer, do all this.
Yeah.
You know, because some
ridiculous
people like
stuff.
for you to just have to pay for lawyers for absurd things.
Yeah,
even
that's
though
true. That's
they
true.
know that they're wrong. You know.
Yeah.
That's never happened to us.
Should we take bets
Yeah.
to see like who thinks she'll actually file?
Who? What?
Should we take
I
bets
think
to
she'll
see if
file.
she'll
Okay,
file?
I think she will too, just to prolong it. And I wonder, so until the whole appeals process has been exhausted, does she still have the right to sell? Or is she
no,
supposed
I
to
think she was
immediately?
supposed to have taken it down.
But she hasn't yet.
But she hasn't.
Ooh. Ooh.
You know, it's interesting because this whole copyright issue. I'm working with a intellectual property attorney about trademarking, not copyright. Sorry, trademarking. And it is interesting because people don't understand, and myself included, how all this stuff works. And you know, you can file for a trademark, but if you never use it, you don't really. And also, you have like 5 years, and if you don't use it, it's nothing. Like I was told that something that I wanted to trademark was already trademarked, so we looked it up, and I forget the word that the government uses, but it's like defunct, right? And the reason it was defunct was because the person made a T-shirt with it on, but it wasn't a that's not trademark. The trademark is the brand. So there's a way that I can still trademark what I want to trademark, but I have to make it a brand. So that's the thing that we're working on. And so it's really complicated. And which, of course, you know, because that's why it's lawyers write these stupid laws that they have job security, right? But yeah, it's not. And like, same with copyright stuff. Like we were talking before about people putting these, you know, copyright disclaimers in their YouTube videos, and they say, you know, I don't know, a mea culpa doesn't mean that you're still not liable for a copyright violation. You know,
You can still get into a lot of trouble.
yeah. Saying I know this is wrong.
Also proving the first time you've used it. That's one of the sticking points. We're dealing with it right now with the children of Gettysburg and the Rupp House History Center. Like, when was the first time we used it?
Right.
When can you put that on there? When can you not? Like, there's a lot to that.
There
And
is.
I am so
There is.
glad it's not something, excuse me as I hiccup and burp into the microphone.
Bullshit.
Right? It's not something that I have to deal with. Thank
Yeah,
you, Lord.
I know. What else you got, Beth? Girls.
Oh, Cindy's turn.
Yeah. Man sought and accused of abandoning dog in Adams County SPCA. So the SPCA went to Facebook. I don't know if anybody follows their page for the Adams County SPCA, but they posted and shared it quite a bit because you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to abandon a dog there.
That's interesting. I would have assumed that would be the place to do it. Like if you can drop off an unwanted baby at a firehouse, why can't you drop off a dog? Can you do that with a baby? Or is that just in New York?
I honestly don't know.
Or is that movies?
I think you can.
From what I understand, you can drop off a dog for, to be there, but you have to sign an intake form and do all of that stuff. And, you have to show that you didn't know the dog. The dog did not.
Oh, no, I understand that.
Okay.
But I'm saying
can't
that
surrender your pet is what. But I think you can.
You can't just leave your dog at the doorstep of
Do you
the
know how
SPCA.
often that happens?
I'm sure it does.
Right, yeah.
But I'm surprised that it's illegal to do.
Well, and you're going to find out why though, because it was a man who brought in a large Rottweiler in the building about 10:30 a.m., claiming that he found the dog on the Mummersburg Road outside of Gettysburg. Excuse me. The man claimed that he just found it as he was driving down the road. However, the dog was comfortable with him. It was staying between his legs. While filing the intake papers, he had to provide his license, which he claimed he left out in his truck. He ended up getting in the truck, which had covered up license plate already, and then he drove away.
He knew it was wrong.
Yeah, so officials want everyone to know that there is a difference between abandoning and surrendering your pet.
Okay.
So I know everyone's going to have their own opinion about the situation. However, the fact is it's against the law to abandon an animal in the state of PA. Bringing the dog to a shelter and saying the dog is a stray and it's not your dog and you know who is the owner is against the law. So reports are claiming they came in that the dog was attacking a male carrier and a small child. So it had already had 2 attacks. And so the fear from the SPCA was that, they don't know this when you bring the dog in. So they're bringing in a potentially dangerous dog into a situation with other dogs and people. And without that knowledge, but that man clearly knew.
Yes.
Because that was why he was trying
But he didn't
to
have the
surrender him.
heart to give him the old Yeller treatment.
Well, that's a sad way.
Or
put it,
to
but-
be accused of having a pet that bit somebody.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyone with information about who the man is, you can go on the Facebook page. There's pictures of him and his truck all over the place. They're asking for somebody to contact them, 717-334-8876, extension 22. And they just add, if you want to get a pet, know the breed and train the dog. Rottweilers can be great family dogs when trained properly. People keep going out and getting cute puppies, and once they aren't so cute anymore, you have a 100-pound monster on your hands. Because it's a 100-pound dog. It's a pretty big dog if you look at the pictures. It's a big Rottweiler. But can be dangerous for the people who are there. So, of course, terrible.
Absolutely.
Anyway. Yeah. And there's chickens.
All right, what's next?
So,
Kathy.
I love pulling these articles specifically for Matt because I know how upset he gets about
life.
Well, development.
Oh boy.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Chattanooga.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
So there was a shopping center approved by the Planning Commission.
Where? Whose?
I'm going to tell you here in a second. It's approximately 11,000 square foot multi-tenant retail facility at 1530 York Road, which would be adjacent to the western side of the Rural Farms convenience store.
I don't care about out there. That's already. That's already. It's already. That whole corridor has already been eaten out by cancer. The cancer of urban sprawl and development. I don't care about that area.
All right.
We can't save it. It's west of town that I want to save.
Okay. Well, then everybody, Matt doesn't care about this.
I don't care.
So
I don't care.
Zero care.
I'm talking to you, the audience.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Yes, Wendell.
That's not Wendell.
That's not Wendell. That's Mike Lentz.
I know, but doesn't
That's
it
not
sound like
Wendell.
Oh, I don't think it sounds like.
I don't think so either.
You don't
That's-
think that sounds like
no,
Wendell Clarkson?
You're
Say it
cruel.
for us one time, Wendell.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste
See,
profile.
Wendell is more nasal.
Yeah, he's up here. Mike is still down here a little bit more. Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of
And he's a little more
Chick-fil-A
breathy.
corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Of their
I don't
taste
know.
profile.
I think it sounds like Wendell Clarkson.
I mean,
Anyway.
there is a similarity,
Yeah.
I guess.
Continue.
I'm the happiest girl in the whole USA. What is that?
So the proposed shopping center would share the Royal Farms access on York Road, which would continue to provide right turns for those traveling westbound only. The main entrance and exit would be on Smith Road between Royal Farms and the Tractor Supply. There was a lawsuit against this property that was resolved in 1919.
1919.
2019, because the township had put a traffic impact ordinance, and there's a fee for that. So they had lowered it in order to make it easier for this thing to come in.
Maybe
So
they
originally,
build a bike path.
Yeah, it was $3,365 was the impact fee. It was lowered to $1,000.
Oh, how lovely!
So apparently,
But that happened in 2019.
Apparently, we who don't hear it are incorrect. Bethany, Eric Houston says, you are all deaf if you don't think that Wendell doesn't sound just like Mike.
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
I don't either.
I'm not saying it doesn't sound at all. I'm saying there is a distinct difference.
I'm saying I think they're very similar. I feel like
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of
I
their
think
taste
it's the way
profile.
he says corporate.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile.
Chick-fil-A corporate is very protective of their taste profile. I'm the happiest
Do that one as Wendell.
girl in the whole USA.
I'm the happiest girl in the whole USA.
I can't do that. Oh, poor Mike. And what's funny is right before.
I'm the.
So there were a lot of opinion
And
columns
you're going
written
diarrhea.
probably in response to that, which is, it makes a lot more sense to me now. I didn't see that article. But so like one of them is Let's Keep Gettysburg Special. Another one is Keep Gettysburg Gettysburg. Both of them were written in the Gettysburg Connection just in the last like 2 days or so.
Yeah.
And so they're really just talking about, whatever the reasons the investors should have an opportunity to submit project proposal more in keeping with Gettysburg's character.
Yeah, and the only thing that was coming up in this particular meeting was that they had changed the orientation of the building 90 degrees.
So it was already done. They just
It was
moved
already done, but they needed but why it hasn't been built, it doesn't say, and when it's going to start being built, nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But Amblebrook is also getting their next phase off Shriver's Corners Road.
Oh, great.
Will have 259 housing units, two fewer than were conditionally approved by supervisors. The change in the number of lots and some changes in the stormwater. Oh my God, what is my problem? In the stormwater plan, they thought it would be appropriate to have the Amblebrook people come back for another approval process.
Yeah.
So
great.
Yeah, another 259 houses.
My goodness.
You were not alone.
Thank you, Pete.
So,
I am here with you.
All right, go ahead.
Al Moyer is the new GARA executive director. So congratulations to him. Longtime Gettysburg area resident Al Moyer has been named the new executive director of the Gettysburg Area Recreation Authority effective October 8th, 2024. He was selected by a board of directors from over 20 applicants for the position. He is a retired public school educator, administrator, collegiate administrator, professor, and a current member of the Gettysburg Area School District Board of Directors. He is an avid tennis player and a proud father and grandfather. He and his family have been regular users of the Gettysburg Rec Park, and he's very excited to take it on. So congratulations to him. Moyer can be reached at info@gettysburgrecpark.com. Or it's his own email, which is amoyer, MOYER, @mcdaniel.edu. So feel free to contact him. Congratulations, Mr. Moyer.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Now I have events. Do you have more news?
Well, there's more news. What would you like to talk about?
Oh.
Matthew, would you
Well,
like
me? Don't ask me.
Would you like to talk about the Pennsylvania school that boarded up the window?
Oh, well, you guys deliver the news. You deliver
Yeah,
and
so-
we will react.
Well,
We
we'll
will
talk about
react.
this one, and then we can mention about the Gettysburgian posts if you would like to. But Pennsylvania school boards up window openings that allowed views into its gender-neutral bathrooms. So have you read about this at all? It's been all over everything. I have seen this article on every Facebook page, on every newspaper. He saw it on the cover of what was it on the cover?
I don't know if it's one of the papers that was in the Giant.
So this is Southwestern School District, which is in Hanover. So they've reversed course, but essentially they reversed course and boarded up window openings that
playing my
recently
breathing noises.
installed that allowed people in the middle school hallway to peer into 2 gender-neutral designated bathrooms, the superintendent said on Friday. So the 2 windows were installed in recent weeks following a vote in August of the Southwestern School District's conservative majority school board, a move that the board president said was designed to monitor and prevent misbehavior. Such openings weren't installed in any of the school's non-gender neutral bathrooms, and I think that's where the problem comes in. So they were covered by plywood on Thursday on the advice of lawyers from the Independence Law Center. I believe we have to protect all of our students. They're entitled to privacy. I don't want to violate that. And then people, of course, there's a lot of complaints from parents. The lawyers are, coming out of the woodwork for this. But essentially what they're saying is that it was a safety issue and they were trying to combat anything. Now, there's stalls in the bathroom. And they say somewhere in here about how there's basically no expectation of privacy outside of stalls in public restrooms is what they're saying it should be. But the fact, again, that they didn't cut them into the non-gender neutral, that's hers.
It's my chapstick.
The non-gender neutral bathrooms was the problem, right? So there you go. But they've now removed them. They've covered them up with plywood. And they are on the advice of counsel, at least.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that story?
No, sorry. Can't
This
do
is one of
it.
the best laughs I've had in a minute.
I know. All right. So what they're doing is
I'm almost afraid to breathe in front of the microphone anymore.
Is this what is? I don't understand what the purpose of it is. Like, why would they think that they can do that only in that bathroom?
I don't know the answer to that. I know why they're saying they did it. And based on...
What was the reason they said? Colby was distracting me.
So it was for safety reasons.
But why is that the safety, the one needing safety and not the other ones?
But it was also... See, they didn't specify that, and that's what the problem is.
I think they're
so
probably referencing
what they're... I know what they're probably referencing.
that Northern Virginia stuff down in Loudoun County.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
Okay.
But what they're also saying is to make sure there's no smoking or vaping and things like that. But again, why only that
not?
one?
Right. You're singling out one group of people.
Exactly.
So do it to all or do it to
all
none.
or to none.
Right.
And that probably would have negated the problem, but they decided to board that up instead of making windows in the other bathrooms, which didn't help their cause. So
don't they consult with attorneys before they do
They are
shit like
now.
that? Well, yeah, I guess.
After the fact.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And now we can go on to events.
All right, going on to events there, girls. Let's see what we've got.
Okay.
Give us a good story so I can do some good sounds.
Oh, well, you can do some haunted sounds.
Oh, let's see if I have any.
Spooky?
There is a Halloween masked tea planned for Sunday, October 13th at 1 p.m. at the...
What'd you say this was? A mask tea?
Masked. Like you have a mask.
Is it
Halloween
one of the ones
mask?
where you like to hold it with like the stick?
Maybe. I think it's whatever you want to do, but this is at the...
Place?
The Gettysburg Academy?
Where the
Yes.
tea is?
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's at the Gettysburg
Burger
Academy. Right down the street from us here.
So delicious sandwiches, desserts, and unlimited tea. They have metered parking along High Street. For reservations, call 717-334-0224.
And you
Please
know-
note that prepayment is necessary.
And you know, you would,
$35 a person.
you could also come over and take a picture in front of the Addressing Gettysburg Studios door by our sign.
With a
And
mask.
then make sure that you tag
Wearing a mask.
tag Addressing Gettysburg in there.
Hashtag
It's
Addressing
called
Gettysburg.
Hallowed Masquerade Tea at Jane's Tea Room.
Isn't that funny? Because on DG, that is not the name they gave it.
Well, it's the name that Gettysburg Academy gave it. So, and Jane's Tea Room has great reviews. So
Yeah, they do.
yeah, and it's Sunday at 1 p.m. Right? Same
Yeah,
thing.
they call it the Hallowed Masked Tea.
Hallowed Masquerade is what it says here.
Isn't that interesting?
It is interesting. This makes more sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, masked is hard to
Masked.
say. Masked.
Masked.
Mhm.
Masked.
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 Masticus.
There is also
Mask.
just one more piece of and also
Like
to
we're
kind of
watching
take it
Braveheart.
back to the opinion pieces based on all of these approvals and things. I did see that Jamie Umstad just posted. There's a petition going around.
Yes.
For Save Historic Gettysburg. So she's asking.
But wait,
that-
the part that's already ruined is historic Gettysburg we have to save?
No. There's a lot of things that are going on, but this all just
Oh,
ties
this is the
together
tall
because there's a
buildings.
lot of
Yeah.
So this is Borough of Gettysburg and sign this petition to save it. So
Not that Gettysburg cares, but one of the reasons why I've, fled town is because I don't like where it's going. Like, I just feel like it's going to turn into Hanover.
right, but then it doesn't know what it is, and that's
Yeah,
like
well,
Gettysburg won't.
Welcome
know
to
what it is.
America in 2024.
I know, but that's what the article "Keep Gettysburg" was really talking about. It was a very short opinion piece, but it was very well written and just basically saying that Gettysburg is a special place and we should keep it that way, and that people who visit here will make those comments that they've never seen something like this, a place like this, and how wonderful it is for those reasons, and it should stay that way.
Well, there's an old saying in the great Eagles song, "The Last Resort," and it says, "If you call someplace paradise, kiss it goodbye," because, and that's what we've done. We've called it paradise, and it's going away, and it's a shame too, because it is that one thing where you kind of hope that, like, through all the changes in attitudes and things, that people could have the respect for to not change it and turn it into everything
However,
else.
you are coming against people who have always lived here, and this is their hometown. And like, if you,
But those are the ones who should be protecting it.
but they're also the people that are like, I'm tired of this. I want to target.
Then move.
Yeah. So it's there's always going to be that fight back. and
Yeah,
forth.
I understand.
I hate to say this, but there is also the National Apple Harvest Festival again this weekend.
Why do you hate to say that?
Because I know it traumatized you to a level that is going to go on for quite some time.
No, it was.
But it is the 60th annual National Apple Harvest Festival.
And it's your last 2 days to check it out.
That's right.
From 8 to 6 on Saturday and 8 to 5 on Sunday, rain or shine.
That's right. I'm telling you, I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like, guys.
Hollowbrow Brothers, so this is actually just on their Facebook page. They do have a link to a GoFundMe account because this is not great. It's about the hurricanes in Florida, but they learned of a story of a woman from, this is not the appropriate music, a woman
wait,
from
well, hold on,
a
wait,
family.
stop. Wait, hold on, let me stop it.
Wait.
All right, God. Let me stop everything. Okay, go ahead. Is
Okay.
this is not
It's a heartwarming story, and
heartwarming.
they need help. They need help.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yes.
Let me see if I can find something to warm the cockles. Go ahead.
So they say this week we learned of a heartwarming story that hits pretty close to home. A woman from a family fruit farm in Cashtown, PA, relocated to North Carolina years ago, now works for a company called Mother Earth Produce. The company focuses on sourcing locally grown
Nope,
foods
that's not a good song.
from farmers in the Asheville, North Carolina area and providing grocery delivery service to Asheville community. Since the hurricane, it has shifted its entire business to provide free nutritional meals to support the crisis relief efforts. I'm sure everybody has seen everything going on in Asheville, North Carolina, and other areas down there in Western North Carolina, and it's pretty bad. So they are donating to this cause, but they're also putting donation jars out for this weekend to encourage others to support. And then they did put the link to the GoFundMe there. It is for Nourish WNC. So they're collecting donations to help feed Western North Carolina. So if you have a chance, it is on the Hollabaugh Brothers Inc. Facebook page, the link to their GoFundMe, or you can always donate at Hollabaugh Brothers directly as well.
That is a nice story. And somebody left a comment on one of the YouTube videos yesterday, I think it was, or maybe it was the day before. And he said that he was listening to whatever show it was on his way down to North Carolina to help out. And I've been seeing these videos from people who have been out of their own pocket, helicopter pilots, former military guys. They're just gathering everybody up and gathering everything they can up, and they're going down and helping. And it makes you feel like a real loser, because I would love to be able to help. I have nothing to offer the world. So like, I'm not ex-military. Colby should be down there. Why aren't you down there, Colby?
Yeah, Colby.
I never thought about it. I never thought about
You
going.
selfish hero.
No, now with Florida, if Florida would have been hit if it would have been a Category 5 when it hit, I probably would have gone down because I'd have needed to help. My family lives right there in Central Florida, but outside of that, man, I don't know. They just never came
There are
across
just
my
people
mind.
who lost everything.
Yeah.
And, they have like kind of a max of $750 per household, I believe, at this point.
Supposedly.
Now there's more money that's been
Well, supposedly that's $750 now just to get you something, and then more can come later. The problem is there's no electricity, there's no internet, and you have to apply online.
Right.
But I'm sure there's a paper way to do it if you can get to where the paper is.
And the problem is
They should just
stuck in the
throw
mountains.
gold at everybody.
The problem is that they're stuck in the mountains. And
Yeah.
so they really just need to, the helicopters have been trying, and I don't know the latest update, but there's been a big problem with getting to people because they're up and surrounded by water and they just can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And so what they had is what they have, and that's it. And so it's just a really horrible situation.
It is awful.
Yeah.
Awful. And I know we have listeners down in those areas there, and obviously they probably can't be listening to this show right now. But we are thinking of you guys, and we hope that it wasn't too hard of a case for you. And if it was, we hope you recover quickly. Bethany doesn't if you're Greek, though. Only if you're Greek, right?
I like all people.
Okay.
all
Good
races.
girl. I'm glad to hear you
Except
changing
Greek.
your
She was
tune.
just talking crap about Greeks before the show.
That's true. During the commercial break, she's like, "Do you ever have a Greek salad? Ew. Who would name a salad after those
boy.
people?"
Do you have more?
I have this weekend on Saturday, October 12th, from 10 to 3 is the I spelled all of this completely wrong. Is Family Day, Fall Family Day at the George Spangler Farm and Field Hospital. It is open and free to the public. You can come out to the farm. You can actually drive out on Family Day, so that's nice. But they'll have living history, Civil War encampment, Civil War medicine, Spangler family experiences, historic barn preservation presentations, and local favorites.
The
That's from 10 to 3 on
Spangler
Saturday.
Farm is beauteous, and,
Isn't it?
As we work on this documentary that we're doing, I'm becoming more and more enamored with the place and the story, and it's really wonderful, really wonderful, really wonderful. What else you got there?
So Fourscore is actually, they are releasing on Saturday 4 new flavors.
Oh.
And it's kind of funny because it just was very reminiscent of our conversation last week about cereal. Because some people were talking about Blueberry and Frankenberry and whatever other ones there were. And so they have Scary Berry, Monster Berry, The Count, and Fruity Mummy. And so those are they're selling mixed
Fruity
for.
Mummy.
It is a vibrant fruited sour inspired by the nostalgic taste of orange marshmallow cereal.
Orange marshmallow cereal.
There's like such a thing.
That's a
Orange
nostalgic thing. I've never had that in my life.
I've never had cereal like that either. I've had orange creamsicles, but I've never had orange. What did you say?
Orange
That mu-
marshmallow cereal.
That
This
must
brew
be a
bursts with
Pittsburgh
juicy orange
thing.
notes.
It's not.
Balanced with creamy marshmallow.
That I know
sweetness.
of anyway.
So
Give us the names again.
Scary Berry.
Yeah.
Monster Berry.
Yeah.
The Count.
Yeah.
And Fruity Mummy.
So the count would be chocolate, I'm guessing.
Count
right?
Chocula.
Is that a stout?
So this is chocolate marshmallow cereal in addition to blackberries and strawberries.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll
they
have to
do.
go there.
They sound great.
When is that?
So it's they're releasing it this Saturday starting October 12th starting at 10 a.m. They have mixed 4-packs. They have Monster Mash flights, Monster Mash glassware that they are selling. It's actually pretty cute. And they have donut pairings and the donut pairing and donuts by the half or full dozen by Ziggy Donuts, which I love.
All right.
Yeah.
So, and that opens at 9 a.m. So head over for that. And that is this Saturday.
Very good.
Sounds delicious.
Man, we're going to have a lot to ingest
Yes.
on Saturday. Imbibe and ingest. Are you freezing?
Yeah.
It has been really cold in here. And then also the Gateway Diner that we talked about over at 70 Presidential Circle.
Yeah.
It is opening on the 15th now. They have a date, 6 a.m. on October 15th. Gateway Diner.
So that would be
Will
where
be
the old
opening.
ABC was, I'm guessing, right?
Out by the Wyndham, yep.
Very nice. All right.
Although
so
they
another
looked like they
diner.
still had a ways to go construction-wise when I went by the other day.
Well,
this
next
is caught
week.
in my hair.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
This is good TV, you guys.
Yeah, Beth, look at that. That's amazing.
Yep. Sorry. Couldn't help much, but it's out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Play
Got it?
her song from the beginning, dude. We got to hear those creepy girls.
And then also, though, there is a new flower
This is
shop
Beth putting her coat on.
that is opening tomorrow. It's MHJ Flower Shop. They are opening at 102 Carlisle Street in Gettysburg, and they are going to be open starting tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So
Wait.
you used to be able to buy their flowers
I was going to say.
at the farmer's market. They
Yeah.
would sell them. She now has a shop on Carlisle Street, which is great.
Is it where the flower shop used to be?
Can't tell you. Don't know.
Okay.
Where is this now?
Right next
102
to
Carlisle Street.
Tacos
102
Monarch.
Carlisle Street. Hold on, let's see here. Hold on one second.
It looks like this.
Bo, you're on the air, so don't say anything you don't want said on the air. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry, Bo. Hold on.
What's the number?
Sorry. Say that again, Bo.
When do you wrap?
We're almost done.
Yeah.
We're going to go to, where do we want to go eat? Federal Point?
Okay.
All right. Debbie, can you call Federal Point, please, and get a table for us? Oh, Debbie's not here.
No, we're screwed.
What do we do? All right.
No.
Well,
Bo, go to Federal Point and get us a table.
Yeah, go get a table at Federal Point, Bo.
Okay.
There's 2, 4. Are you coming, Colby?
Probably not tonight, man.
You're a drip.
And then Paige will be coming.
All right, so there's 5 of us.
6, 7.
No, 5 of us, and then you and whoever.
5, 6, 7.
Gotcha. Understood what you're saying now. Okay, gotcha. All right, good. All right, so we'll see you there.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bo.
Bye. All right.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, that wasn't a. I had to do that because I know why he was calling, and I didn't want to.
Well, hurry up, because I really
All right, well,
have to
okay,
pee.
go. What else we got?
I got nothing. I got
That's all you got? Oh.
That's it.
That's in the news.
All right, well, listen, it has been a wonderful time. I want to thank you all for watching and listening and all your continued support of Addressing Gettysburg. We have, Colby, can you look? There's a piece of paper hanging on the wall to the right there. To the right. Yeah. All right. And you see it there? It's got a list of shows and everything. Can you tell me what is Monday's show? That'd be the 14th, October 14th. Do you see what
Ron Kirkwood.
Ron Kirkwood, and that's on Patreon. Ron Kirkwood, Tell Mother Not to Worry. We'll be talking about that, his second book, the follow-up to whatchamacallit. And then also there should be another one for Ask a Guide. What is on the 14th under the Ask a Guide category?
It's 10-4 on here, but I'm going to read that as if it's 10-14.
Yep.
It's Carl Schurz?
Yep, Carl Schurz. That's Ralph, right?
The Germans at Gettysburg.
Is that Ralph Siegel? No. Who is that?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
It says the Germans at Gettysburg.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, and also next week,
yes,
we have George and Cindy from the Mansion House coming on.
Oh,
which we're
nice.
Very excited about.
Another place. You notice how we do a lot of eating, ladies and gentlemen. And a lot of our...
That is,
we do.
Everything we do revolves around food.
Yes, it really does.
And then let's also make sure we double announce about the Christmas party.
That's right. Thank you. I'm glad you remembered because
I didn't know we were allowed to do that yet.
So go ahead.
It's officially on December 7th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Barn Resort.
All right.
Be there or be square.
Be there or be square. And tell us any more details about it.
So it's I can get you the exact amount per person. I believe it's like $26.95 if I'm not mistaken. If you want to eat from the buffet, their bar will be open, and we're gonna have the same great stuff. We will be there. What else is what's better than that?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
So, but we are gonna have some fun things planned. Bethany and I have some great things out for it. We will have a signature drink. We're just figuring that out. The Cellar 75 is what their bar is called,
right.
And they have some great stuff there too. So they've been getting really great reviews. We're really excited to be there, and it's beautiful.
Food is really
as you
good.
said.
It is. I went in there a couple weeks ago, and it's really, really nice. And the room that we are getting is there's
the fireplace.
There's a fireplace in there, and there's two doorways in the room. One goes out to the hall, but one goes directly into the buffet, ladies and gentlemen.
And there's a lot of things on there.
We
a
will
lot
have
of different types of food for that price.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Is amazing.
Oh.
It's everywhere. It's like all different kinds of food.
Astounding the amount of food that they have in the buffet.
And the biggest salad bar, I think, in Gettysburg at this point. I mean,
Nothing
the
better
salad
than a
bar
good
was
salad
like
bar.
gargantuan.
I didn't look at the salad bar. I was looking at
It
all
was
the
in- it's
greasy,
in the
cheesy
center.
things. Oh, yeah, I did look at that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it is huge. Yeah. I thought it was a sushi bar. It was so big.
So we will be sending out invites, and we'll be posting probably an evite of some sort for people to be able to sign up to
Yes.
go.
Now, we're sending out invites because last year I was like, oh, I should have had this guest on. Like people who have been guests in the previous year who have been very good to us. It's a lot for me to juggle everything. I can't think of everything and remember everything and everyone. And so I said, we got to start with a list throughout the year, keep a list of people to invite to the Christmas party. And of course I forgot that, but we're going to go back and we're just going to look at all the guests that we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Sydney's already done that, and we're going to probably add some more to it. And then, but that doesn't mean it's invite only, ladies and gentlemen.
No. Your invite will also be on Patreon, on Facebook.
Right. So you can sign up for it. It's free to sign up, but you do have to pay your way. Someday, maybe when we hit 1,000 patrons, I will pay for catering, and it'll be a nice big event like when you go to a wedding or whatever. But until you do that for me, I can't do it for you. So we're going to pay our way. We're going to have a lot of fun together. There's booze if you're into that. There's food if you're into that. And who isn't? And of course, Bethany is going to sing It's a Marshmallow World topless. So we will have a wonderful
Did I agree to this?
I don't know.
Somebody give me my contract.
I thought you did agree to it.
No, I don't
thought
think
you
I did.
I'm pretty
No.
sure you did.
No, pretty sure
thought
not.
You did.
Pretty sure not.
I think you did.
No one. No.
He stood
No.
as a
No, she didn't say that, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm from Clarion.
All right. We're going to go eat because we're hungry and because we need that for sustenance and nourishment and everything else. So we hope you guys enjoyed this show, and go out and get John's book. The Heavens Falling is number 1. Number 2 is In the Beauty of the Lilies, right? I hope I got that right. John yelled yes. Okay, good. And go get it November 1st on Amazon. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Today's opening theme is written and performed by Colin Southfield and the Mushroom Country Band. Bumper music is arranged and performed by Billy Webster and sometimes Kevin McLeod. AG Today is produced by Matt Cowlery, Bethany Hingling, Debbie Jones, and Sydney Compton. Engineered by Colby Sumner and maybe sometimes someone else. Guest accommodations are provided by the guests themselves. We'll need a couple thousand patrons to be able to put people up in hotels. Speaking of patrons, maybe you'd like to become one. You'll find plenty of perks over there, not to mention hundreds of episodes that will help you further your Gettysburg and Civil War education. So go to patreon.com/Addressing Gettysburg. I'm Huevos Grande, the voice of Addressing Gettysburg. Thanks for listening.
True international depression. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was.
This concludes our broadcast day.
You know, me now.